I know he's got a Pro Football Hall of Fame sidekick when he's on the round table on Spectrum News 1. He'll have to settle for, I don't even know what my biggest accomplishment is. Nothing close to what Leroy has accomplished. Edition. And we finally got to meet Jeff Hafley. And I'll tell you, I know it's just a press conference. His defense has to do the job. But he made a really good first impression on me. I'll explain. Coming up, edition of Wilde Tausch on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, 100.5 ESPN Madison, 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam, ESPNWisconsin.com, the ESPN app, your Alexa smart speaker, streaming live video on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And, of course, everything you need on Wisconsin On Demand, including being able to get this here podcast after the fact, wherever you get all your other podcasts. Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, and, of course, Stitcher. I'm Jace Wilde in Green Bay. Jesse Nelson is in the Everlight Solar ESPN Madison studios, sporting his Bucks T-shirt. And from his own undisclosed location with some great canvases behind him, he is the former Packer, the former Badger, the co-host of the Potawatomi Football Show, which I've joined a few times at Rock and Brews, and really enjoyed their blackened salmon and their bread pudding. He is Gary Ellerson.
Finally
Gary, good morning.
Finally got it. Good morning. You know, that's a big introduction that you have there, Jason. That's a lot.
It is. Yeah, it's a lot.
That's a lot, man.
I'm long-winded, I've been told. It's great to have you as our cousin sub of the day, Cousin Subs. We believe in better. How you been?
Good, buddy. Glad to be here. Got a lot to talk about, it feels like. Finally met the guy.
It is a good day for you to be in, and as you know, I have told the powers that be that I've got a few favorites when it comes to cousin subs of the day, which Lord knows you need, given how many times we need them because Tausch isn't on the program.
Long weekend season for old T right now.
Yeah, that's a good title for it. Like, he's got hockey games, he's got gymnastics meets, he's got all this stuff, and they interfere with his ability to do the show, and we're lucky to have a deep bench. We've got you, we've got Bulaga. Right. It's great to have so many former Packers and insightful dudes to fill the void. Now, is the Spectrum Roundtable, every time I turn on my cable, I start on Channel 1. It automatically does that. So I see your ugly mug more than I would like, frankly, with Dennis Krause and the Hall of Famer, Leroy Butler. Are you still doing that? Will you have a special Jeff Hafley edition that I get to watch, or is it out of football season, so you're kind of out of mind?
Well, no, football is year-round, right?
That's true.
It's every Monday. It never stops. I mean, the NFL, they have this thing figured out. They know how to keep it going all the way. And then with the Green Bay Packers, there's just so much news. You're talking about defensive coordinator, then you're talking about combine, then draft, and before you know it, it's July.
And they're in training camp, and then I'm seeing you on the sideline and telling Leroy who everybody is. So right. I don't mean this to date you, but you were a great running back at UW. Was the combine a thing when you came out of Wisconsin, and what are your recollections? Because Brian Gutekunst, we were told yesterday, is going to speak on Tuesday in Indianapolis, but it's a weird deal. Like, Matt LaFleur and the coaches aren't going again. Sean McVay's not going with his staff. Kyle Shanahan. For me, it used to be the kickoff of the new football season, and everybody was there. It was like the place to be if you were in any way in or adjacent to the NFL, and it appears, at least for coaches, to be losing its luster.
Yeah, I don't get that. I don't understand why this is changing all of a sudden.
Me either.
I think as a head coach, wouldn't you want to see the guys that you potentially could be on your team? Wouldn't you want to be in that interview room? And now all of a sudden this is changing. So the first time these guys will see them is when they get drafted. And I wonder what input does Matt LaFleur have on the draft if he's not actually there watching the product? So that's just a bit different for me.
And in fairness to Matt LaFleur, I was talking with Rob Domofsky, our friend from ESPN.com yesterday, and my longtime buddy. He said that, because obviously they've got 32 people that cover the league, one for every team. He said that 12 of the 32 head coaches are not going to the combine. 12!
Yeah.
I'm not a brilliant mathematician, but that's more than a third of the coaches. And like, I don't get it either. And you know me, it's great. I work from home a lot, so I'm around the girls and Paula and all the pets. But like,
right.
I used to go to the combine because it was so valuable for me, and we figured out a way to do the show and everything else. But it's getting less and less valuable for me as a reporter. I'm not going because it's just to talk to Goody on Tuesday. Yeah, it's great to see all the prospects, but the bottom line is, coaches, this is when you talk to coaches and you get a feel for what the team is, and I'm not able to do that. So did you go to the combine?
So I did not go to the combine. I was not invited. I had my own private workout at the Shell, when it was the Shell at that particular time.
On like the basketball court and the indoor track. And
that place. Remember that place?
It worked because you obviously went on to play in the NFL. I guess my thing is the more information, the better. Right? And Matt did make a comment about paralysis by analysis yesterday because he was talking about how, and we'll get into Jeff Hafley and what he had to say yesterday, but he was talking about how maybe guys think too much in the previous defense and that the goal here is for it to be simplified so they can fly around more. Right. I don't think you get paralysis by analysis just because you get to be in the room with one of the guys you're thinking about maybe drafting. I don't understand this trend at all.
I would agree with you. And also with that, though, does it feel like it's a shift, though, too, in the hierarchy now? They're just letting the guy that is the talent dude, they're just letting him do his thing, and the coaches just whatever they get, or do they both get together with Matt LaFleur and Brian Gooden? Because do they get together after it's over and go, here's the guys that we're looking at, and maybe they watch film later? I mean, there's got to be some sort of communication on guys I like and guys that you like, and we have to come to some sort of common ground. I thought that's supposed to happen now in Green Bay.
I think it does, but I do think that there is, and I use the phrase a separation of church and state, a separation of coaching and personnel. Because, I look, first of all, and I know Mark Murphy still hasn't forgiven me for going after him in a press conference about whether or not it made sense to change the structure, which I still believe he was wrong. I know they've had success. I still don't think it was the right decision. But you're
not budging on that at all.
I'm not. No, I'm stubborn.
What if they win the Super Bowl this year? What if they win the Super Bowl?
It won't be because of the structure. That's for sure.
Yeah, it would be.
Because here's the thing. The whole idea that he said was it was to remove the silos, right? That was a big word, silos. And Tausch is a former farmer. Brian Bulaga is a future farmer. They like silos. But they didn't
Auburndale, Iowa,
Yeah, they're big. They're big on farms. But they didn't remove the silos. And, in fact, I would argue that he reinforced them because I do think that there is this is my area. I'm the personnel guy, GM, and I don't blame Goody for having that attitude. What I'm saying is, early on in the season, when things weren't going well, one of the things that happens when you do things this way, and they will never say this publicly, either one of them, they'll say they have a great relationship and they talk every day, which I'm sure they talk every day. Whether it's hello or something more extensive, I don't know. But when things were going bad and they were 2-5, and Goody traded Rasul Douglas because he didn't think his team was a contender. You don't make that trade if you think you're playing in the NFC divisional round a few months later. But I guarantee you there was a feeling on the personnel side of, hey, we got these guys all this talent. They're clearly not coaching them up well enough because they're not winning. And that's got to be on the coaching because we know that our scouting was on point. And then the coaches, I'm sure, are thinking, oh, God, they gave us all these rookies. What the hell do they think we're going to do here? It takes time to get these guys up to speed. They have some talent, but they don't know what they're doing, right? That's what is promoted by that setup.
Well, I mean, so do you think the trade of Rasul Douglas and that Matt LaFleur was unaware that that was going to happen?
I think he was informed after the trade was made, yes.
See, I don't think so. I think they're all in on it. You and I are totally different on this, the silos, just so you know.
Well, you're in your own silo.
And right. I happen to think that there was something else going on with Rasul Douglas that they decided to cut bait. I think at some point they knew where they were going, and sometimes it has to do with the locker room, inside the locker room, what that looks like. And I think there were some other things with Rasul that we don't necessarily know about, and the reason why they made that trade.
Well,
because they were going to be young, so they had young, impressionable guys in that locker room. Who are these guys looking up to?
Well, if they were going to trade a malcontent, they would have had to trade their other starting corner too, because he was very unhappy.
Well, you couldn't get rid of that guy. So somebody had to be the sacrificial lamb.
It's a tough way to go. Although he did go to Buffalo and played really well, and Buffalo certainly had its chances. Yeah,
got just as far as the Packers.
What, do we get a second-round pick for that? Second-round pick? What do we get?
No, this is a huge pet peeve of mine.
Here's another one. Because
Goody, made it sound like they got a third-round pick for Rasul Douglas.
They got a third-round pick.
They didn't. They traded Rasul Douglas and a fifth-round pick and got a third-round pick in return. So what they got was a move from wherever their fifth-round pick would have been up to where the Bills' third-round pick is. They don't have an extra pick because of that trade. They have the same number of picks. Had they traded Rasul Douglas straight up for a third-round pick, I'm all right with that. And I praise Goody for getting a third-round pick for a guy that he plucked off a practice squad in the middle of the 21 season. But that ain't what happened.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for understanding that they didn't get a third-round pick. They gave up a fifth-round pick along with Rasul Douglas. All right, Gary Ellerson is our cousin sub of the day. We finally found a couple of things we disagree on, which after all this time of working together, we agree most of the time. I want to see if Gary agrees with the first impression that Jeff Hafley gave in his 28-minute session with us yesterday. I asked a few questions. Lots of others asked lots of other questions, most of them shorter than mine, but I thought I had a pretty short question day, all things considered. But I want to play some of Jeff Hafley's responses to us and see what vibe Gary got from the new Packers defensive coordinator. We'll do that coming up next. Gary Ellerson is our cousin sub of the day for Tausch. Cousin subs, we believe in better. It's Wilde and Tausch.
On air, online, and on demand. Get all your favorite ESPN Wisconsin content anywhere you get your podcasts for free. The new Wisconsin On Demand. It's free, it's everywhere, and it's for you.
Meet Alan, who was diagnosed with sleep apnea.
I was what they call a mouth breather, and I would breathe at night with my mouth open.
And for about 8 years, Alan struggled with a CPAP machine. And then
I saw the Advent commercial, and I thought, well, what do you got to lose? This machine is miserable.
For most people, CPAP machines are miserable, but a simple breathing triangle solution from Advent can be life-changing.
And it really was, to me, it was amazing because I don't think I ever breathed that clear.
This is Dr. Madan Kandula. After having one of Advent's simple breathing triangle procedures, people are amazed at how freely and clearly they can breathe.
I'm happy with the procedure. I'm very glad I did it. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago. I could have avoided that machine I had to have laying next to the bed with the hose wrapped around my head.
Schedule your appointment at AdventKnows.com because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. AdventKnows.com. Results may vary.
Kick off your St. Patrick's Day celebration early with the 15th annual Shamrock Shuffle happening on Saturday, March 2nd. A day filled with fun, green beer, music, and fundraising for great causes, benefiting the Special Olympics and other local charities. This year, we're taking the shuffle to new heights as we explore 4 vibrant areas of Milwaukee: Water Street, MLK Drive, Brady Street, and Walker's Point. Let's shuffle for a cause. Grab your tickets at shamrockshufflewi.com. See you at the 15th Annual Shamrock Shuffle.
Kyle Bruston Nortman, weekdays from 2 to 5.
Never, ever, ever getting back together. You go talk. Oh, that's.
Oh, you were off.
You were off. I'm off. I was off.
Presented by Bud Light and sponsored by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Getting back together. There we go.
We're just as good as her.
We really are.
Kyle Bruston Nortman, right here on 94.5 ESPN. And subscribe to the show on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get podcasts.
Cousin Subs features only the finest Wisconsin-made cheeses and dairy on their menu. And now the time has come for even more cheese, as Cousins is happy to introduce their new Cheddar Supreme cheese sauce. Order this cheesy treat on their new cheese fries or add cheese sauce to your favorite sub. And for a limited time, indulge in chili cheese fries. More cheese? Yes, please. Order today at any location, online, or via Cousins mobile app. Cousins Subs. We believe in better.
Go beyond your field of study and get a world-class education in leadership by joining the U.S. Army ROTC. Army ROTC programs transform students into confident leaders and provide a wide range of scholarships to help pursue life-defining careers. As an Army officer, you'll work side by side with peers who support your growth. Gain the experience and get the resources to open doors down the road. Army ROTC is open for enrollment. Visit goarmy.com/ROTC to learn more about available opportunities and scholarships, including at Marquette University.
Right now, the prices of diamonds are probably the lowest we'll see in our lifetime.
Diamond prices are low, low, low. Here's why.
It was hard to meet new people during COVID.
When a person meets their soulmate, they usually get engaged about 39 months later.
People started dating again only about 36 months ago.
Most of the people who got engaged during COVID
or immediately after COVID
were already in a relationship before the COVID lockdown began.
The Wall Street Journal even published a story about all of this.
Low sales of engagement rings created a worldwide oversupply of diamonds.
But now, engagement ring sales are beginning to pick up again.
By the end of next spring, this temporary oversupply will be gone.
And diamond prices will start climbing like crazy.
If you ever wanted to own a big diamond, this is the year to do it.
Find the Kesslers nearest you at KesslersDiamonds.com.
If you want to own a big diamond, the time is now.
This is Wilde Tausch on 94.5 ESPN, sponsored by American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
So we met Jeff Hafley yesterday for the first time, and he made a good impression on me. I liked what I heard. Gary, before we get into any of the specifics, what was your initial thought on the Packers' new defensive coordinator?
Well, I watched it via stream. I believe that's how they had it. And it looks like he's got his stuff together. I mean, sound very positive, and just a lot of energy. And, you know, and this may be a side note. Here's what I think, too, because he kind of got into this a little bit. I think you're going to see a lot of college coaches leaving college to coach in the NFL. Because there's one thing that stuck out to me is when he said, you know what, I finally got a chance to watch film.
Yes.
Since he's been the head coach at Boston College, I hadn't even watched film. I got to deal with NIL. I got to keep this. I got to recruit the guys I got to recruit. Then I got to go recruit some other guys. The head coaches now in college don't even coach football anymore.
Yep.
So now here's a guy that loves X's and O's, that loves to watch film. He gets a chance now to get back and do what he loves in the professional game. And I think when you look at him, and I saw him yesterday, handled himself very well, and it just felt like there was more energy in the room when you talk to him. Now, I don't know if that equates to the defense being the top 5 defense or anything like that, but there's most certainly a shift when I saw him and heard him speak yesterday. And matter of fact, you had some great questions, although your questions are always very long-winded and thoughtful.
I've heard that, yeah. I appreciate you. I will say this, and we'll get into this coming up. If you thought that he was coming in here to run constantly press man coverage with the Al Harris style up at the line of scrimmage, manhandling receivers, you got another thing coming. And this is a guy who loves press man coverage, but one of the biggest things that jumped out at me was his conversation, and Matt LaFleur's before him, about wanting to have vision to the football. And what that means is more zone coverage than man coverage. And while they will play man coverage at times, they want more takeaways. They finished 23rd in the league in takeaways last season, and they clearly believe that they don't get enough interceptions. And that's one of the things that clearly Jeff Hafley is going to try and do as a former DB's coach, is increase that. Now, I understand why, and we'll get into this coming up, I understand why Packers fans were hoping he was a press man guy, because they watched far too many 3rd and 5 plays on which the corners were playing 8 yards off the line of scrimmage and giving up easy pitch and catch first downs. I thought it was interesting, and Jesse's going to play this first clip here, how Hafley discussed changing the scheme and how he, I would say, tried very hard to sound like he still felt good about what the previous staff had done, even though most of them are now gone. Here's Jeff Hafley yesterday.
I think they did a lot of good things. And I think they played a lot of good defense in a lot of games. And I have respect for everybody that was on that staff and all the guys that were on the field. For me right now, it's about moving forward. And as this thing gets going, try to improve it. And that's really where my head's at right now.
So he has to say that, right? He can't get up there and go, right. They're terrible, and I can take the same talent and we can be way better.
You know, it sounded like Doc Rivers a little bit when he said, I don't know why they're getting, why are you hiring me? I don't know why you're getting rid of the guy. You should not get rid of the guy. You know, that's all.
Well, that's
all
not
talk,
what we
right?
want to hear right now. It sounds like Doc Rivers.
That's all there was. Why you? Well, meaning that is you're trying to have respect for the guy that you're replacing. And that's exactly what that was. No one, because everybody at some point, if you get fired, who knows? He may be under someone else that was on that coaching staff. So you can't go just step on people in this business. So you have to be cordial when you walk into that door.
So I get it. And, you know, I like to tease you, and say basically the version of NFL football that you played, you might as well have played with Don Hudson, given how much it's changed. But it is true. And so one of the things that I thought was really interesting that I wanted to get your input on is, having played in the league, having watched the league for so long as you have, this switch to the 4-3, it doesn't mean nearly as much, and I even said this in a question that I asked him about when they switched to the 3-4 with Dom Capers, and Ted went out and got a nose tackle in B.J. Raji and an edge rusher in Clay Matthews, because those are so important to the success of that scheme. Well, now, it's such a nickel league that it doesn't really matter. But I thought it was interesting that LaFleur was very adamant that he wanted to find whoever he hired. And it wasn't like Jeff Hafley was the only guy that he liked that he would have hired. But whoever he hired, he wanted to make sure that the scheme was versatile enough that they could use the guys they already have. Because the first guy that I thought of when LaFleur said that was Aaron Campman. Because when Dom Capers came in, and I love Aaron Campman, he's a friend of the show, he's going into the Packers Hall of Fame, he was a terrific 4-3 defensive end. But he knew that he did not have the skill set to be an effective 3-4 outside linebacker. He was unhappy, and after a year, he was gone. And he was going into a contract year when they switched the defense. I think he had like 3 sacks. Like, it could not have been worse for him. And it felt to me, like Matt LaFleur said, and even though he was, probably still playing for the Omaha Beef at the time of that change of staffs, we're not going to have any Aaron Campman situations with this change in defense. Is that important? Because it sure sounded like it was.
Okay, a couple things here. I'm going to back up. You talk about zone coverages, right? And you talk about playing off in 3rd and long and 3rd and 5, and we're 8 yards deep. You still could be in zone, right? We can be in a cover 3, but you still can be in the guy's face, right? You still can have deep third. Why are we just going to give the guy? So I think looks will be different. To me, I think it's just common sense. I still can be in zone in 3rd and 5, but I'm not just gonna give you the 5 yards. I still can be up in your face. So I think you'll see some of that. Aaron Campman, you're right about that. But I think when you look at Preston Smith, Rashawn Gary, Van Ness, right? I think those 3 guys come to mind. They're more athletic than what Aaron Campman was when they're making the switch. So I think those 3 guys can do a little bit of everything. I think they can stand up. I think they can put their hands in the dirt. So I think they won't be too far out of place on what they've been able to do. Van Ness in college played with his hands in dirt.
Right. All 3 of them
Rashawn
did.
Gary in college played with his hands in dirt. So these guys are used to that. So I don't think it'd be that foreign to them if they were to ask them to do that. I think the change will be much easier than what it was back when they did it with Camp.
You're absolutely right. And the fact that all of them did that in college and to some degree, I mean, I think Preston Smith did it when he was in Washington with Joe Barry, because that was when Joe Barry was still running a Tampa 2 style of defense. But I am curious, and again, I may joke about how much the game has changed, but when you played, how often did they play nickel? Like, if you remember, Brett Favre claimed, at least I don't know if it was true or not, but he claimed when he got to the NFL, he didn't know what nickel was, and he needed Ty Detmer to explain to him what that was. The fact that he didn't, whether that was, just him doing his hillbilly hee-haw routine or not, I don't know. But the fact that that was plausible tells you that the NFL did not play nickel that much, even when he was playing, and that wasn't nearly as long as it was when you were playing.
No, I think it was very rare because back then the fullback was the fullback, right?
Right.
And we were basically I formation, big backs. You're talking about Eric Dickerson was doing it, and I'm getting real old. Walter Payton. I mean, everybody had a fullback. Now the fullback is obsolete in the game. And in obvious passing situation, we still had 2 running backs in the game, and we still had a fullback and a tail and the tight end with Paul Kaufman. Sometimes we went with Ed West. So nickel back then wasn't very prevalent. Every once in a while we did 3 wideouts, but not to the degree that you see right now. Well, because sometimes you'll see guys 4 and 5 wide receivers now in the game today. It was not like that when I played.
Speaking of, and you're right, fullback is obsolete, other than your guy, Josiah DeGuara, who is heading into free agency, so you may have to bid farewell to him. The other thing that I think is weird about the time you played versus now, why were shoulder pads so enormous then, and why are they so much smaller now?
I know, right? I mean, I look at those things, they're like airplanes. I mean, you're way out here.
Right.
I have no idea. And then they streamlined them. And I think because of the weight, I mean, they were very heavy. And I think now you see guys can maneuver a little bit more with the smaller shoulder pads and still have enough padding there where you really don't get hurt. And now a lot of guys wear padding underneath those shoulder pads too as well. So I have no idea why they were so big. And we had the huge thigh pads too.
Yes.
Remember the big thigh? We had the big. I mean, Earl Campbell his thighs were big, but we used to have those huge thigh pads. Guys don't have that kind of equipment like they used to.
Well, we will get into more of what Jeff Hafley had to say. I love the old. I'm sure you have a pair like in your garage or something from your playing days that are just gigantic. And if you put them on now, they wouldn't fit under one of the more streamlined jerseys either. We'll talk more about what Jeff Hafley had to say. I do want to get into this because Gary makes a great point. You can play zone coverage without being 8 yards off the line of scrimmage. And unfortunately, all too often, and I think there's some PTSD for Packers fans, and I used that as part of my question to Jeff Hafley yesterday because I know from the feedback we get from fans that was the number one complaint they had about the Joe Barry defense. So we'll see how Jeff Hafley answered that. Jeff Hafley has drawn a paycheck from the Packers. And that means that it's got he's probably getting direct deposit, but it's got the Associated Bank logo on it because they are the official bank of the Packers. And you can join the official bank of the Packers if you get Packers checking from Associated Bank. You get 10% off the Packers Pro Shop, both in-store and online. You get a nifty Packers debit MasterCard, and you get all the great perks that come with being an Associated Bank customer. So go to AssociatedBank.com/Packers to find out more. More with Gary Ellerson, our Cousin Sub of the Day. Cousin Subs, we believe in better. It's Wilde Tausch.
Wilde and Tausch continues next on 94.5 ESPN, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, and sponsored by American Family Insurance.
Now on tap at the Delafield Brewhouse, Hopped Up and Hazy, a New England-style IPA with bright grapefruit and citrus aromas. Stop in for a Hopped Up and Hazy and amazing food at the Delafield Brewhouse. Drink ale, live lager. The Delafield Brewhouse.
Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Alex Strofe.
This Badger Minute brought to you by UW Credit Union. For over 90 years, UW Credit Union has helped Wisconsinites achieve their financial goals at every stage of life, offering great rates for greater possibilities. Join today at uwcu.org. The Wisconsin Badgers football team has filled out their coaching staff for the upcoming season, according to ESPN's Pete Thamel. Reported Thursday, the Badgers are hiring Air Force defensive ends coach E.J. Whitlow as their next defensive line coach, replacing Greg Scruggs after just one season. Whitlow was previously at Miami of Ohio and Grand Valley State, where he spent time with current Badgers outside linebackers coach Matt Mitchell. Last season, in charge of Air Force's defensive ends, the Falcons had the #1 total defense in the country, as well as the #2 passing defense.
Get 0% interest for up to 3 years, or get no money down, no interest, and no payments for up to 18 months at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Visit PellaWI.com.
Join the Milwaukee Bucks on February 27th as we celebrate historically black colleges and universities at our HBCU game presented by JCI. Enjoy pregame, halftime, and postgame events that honor the legacy and excellence of historically black colleges and universities and those who attended them. For more information and to purchase an HBCU night ticket package, visit bucks.com/impact.
Make a stop at the Harley-Davidson Museum before heading out to the Mama Tried Motorcycle Show. They'll have food and drink specials from the Motor Bar and Restaurant. Explore their newest exhibit, Mama Tried, bringing it together, and take a free shuttle to the rave for Saturday's show. The HD Factory Outlet Sale in Rumble includes fantastic deals on end-of-season and discontinued Harley-Davidson motor clothes and merchandise. Don't miss the fun pre-show gatherings. Thursday, February 22nd through Sunday, February 25th at the Harley-Davidson Museum.
Stay up to date on the Green and Gold all off season. The Green and Gold Fix podcast is brought to you by Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Luxury stay, elite play, unwind in sophisticated comfort. Win big, dine, and experience the events in Milwaukee.
Hey, Wayne, shopping for a new door? Do you need something more dependable?
Yes, something that's durable, dent resistant, knows how to take a hit, and is going to last for years.
We're still talking about the door, right?
Oh, yeah, right, of course.
Wayne Larrabee and Jeff Levering shopping together at Pella? What next? How about 0% interest for up to 60 months when you place your order by February 23rd at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Offer ends 2/23/2024.
Big news, Bucks fans. Tonight, you can watch the Milwaukee Bucks on CBS 58. Why is that big news? It means the Bucks are on broadcast TV for everyone to see. Tonight, they take on the Timberwolves. And you don't need a streaming service to see this matchup. Just tune in to CBS 58. Coverage starts at 8:30 p.m. Bucks games, back on broadcast TV. Tonight versus the Timberwolves. Coverage starts at 8:30 p.m. Visit CBS58.com for all your Bucks news.
Hey, Drew Scott here, and I'm Jonathan Scott, reminding you that life's better with a home policy from American Family Insurance. They can help you get just the right protection at just the right price and help you save when you bundle home and auto. Kind of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. It'll be just right for you. We love a custom build. American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
You're listening to Wilde Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Missed any of the show? Find us on Wisconsin On Demand wherever you get your podcasts. It's free, it's everywhere, and it's for you.
Some preconceived notions. One of them was Jeff Hafley historically has played a lot of press man coverage. And when the Packers hired him, I went through every podcast I could find of him talking. And he talked a lot about press man coverage and that is one of his core beliefs. Early in the press conference, he was asked about it and he said he loves it. But before that, Matt LaFleur spoke, and Matt LaFleur said we're going to have more vision to the football. And I know enough about football, not nearly as much as Gary or Tausch or Bulaga or Chimura do, but I know that means to have vision to the football, you need to be playing zone more than man, because you got your back turned a lot when you're playing man coverage, and you're engaged with that receiver. And so I started to think, well, wait a minute now. Matt LaFleur is talking about vision and break. How are they going to play press man coverage if that's what one of the primary goals are for this new system? Well, it turns out they're going to play it sometimes, but this ain't the old days when Al Harris was locking guys down and going to the Pro Bowl with only 2 interceptions, because it's hard to intercept a lot of passes when you're playing press man coverage all the time. So I decided, and I may have, I don't want to say I was unfair to Packers fans, but I know that after watching all those instances of too much cushion with the Joe Barry scheme, one of the things that a lot of fans wanted was press man coverage, so none of that crap was happening anymore. And the fact that they're not going to do that all the time, I thought was really interesting. So here's the exchange I had with Jeff Hafley about that. Jeff, when a new coordinator comes in, the fans want to hear that he's going to play press man all the time. He's going to blitz the hell out of it.
Why does everybody like press so much?
I think they like aggressive, right? Nobody ever says anything different. I'm curious. Matt was in here, though, talking about how you're going to have vision to the ball more. So how does that kind of, in general terms, how do you kind of view how you mix man and zone in order to be able to do that, but also maybe be a little more aggressive in some situations?
You got to have change-ups, and you have to have calls that complement one another. Our zone coverages are built off vision and break. That allows guys to play fast, so they're not looking at people and looking around for people. The essence of playing vision and break coverage is when the ball's thrown, you have 2 or 3 guys going 100 miles an hour to the ball carrier. And I think that's what the biggest difference is. And you have to have complements to that, because a lot of times when you want to pressure, you can't play that style of defense. You have to be aggressive and get your hands on people. So I think there's a place for both. But I'm big on vision and break, because I want to see as many people get to the ball carrier and as fast as we can over and over again.
So, Gary, that was really interesting to me, because what I also thought he kind of said without saying is there are zone systems where you're looking for people and you're worried about that, and I thought that might be a little bit of a breadcrumb about how the Packers previously played zone coverage versus how they're going to play it with him. Let's talk about vision and break, because we kept hearing how he wants guys going 100 miles an hour to the football. And if there's one thing we saw from this defense in the past 3 years, it never felt like anybody was going 100 miles an hour to the football at all. So how do you view what he said and how that fits what this defense might look like?
Well, I think it's got to be contagious. But I will say this, and I think the coaching staff have to implement that energy and what they want this to look like and put it on the players. But the new NFL now, too, if you even watch the Packers offense, it's all about over routes. You see a lot of over routes, crossing routes, I would say, from a lot of teams in the NFL. So if you're in zone, that means that you've got a receiver running through zones, which means that you've got to have communication saying over, and make sure that you know that that guy is coming in and out of your zone, which lends itself to be, I think, a little bit more laid back, a little bit more lackadaisical, because now you can't necessarily look at the football and rally to the football because you got to make sure you're communicating. I think there was one play where last year they said that one of the, was it Valentine or Ballantyne, he didn't get the call on his side when a guy was coming over. So you've got to make sure that all those things are being communicated. To me, communication is the key that will allow you to play fast. And to have that, it's got to be simple, right? And to me, the Packers defense last year wasn't very simple. Either they didn't buy into it, or they didn't know where they were going, or they didn't care. To me, they have to make this defense simple for these guys to go be able to play fast like they want them to.
So, and we might get into this a little bit later. There was so much yesterday. We waited 3 weeks to hear from Jeff Hafley, but I learned a lot from his philosophy, his approach, his personality. So I was glad that we had as much time with him yesterday as we did. But one of the other things he talked about is the importance of the safety position in his system. Yeah. And he went on a fairly long description of what he looks for in a safety. And by the time he was done, I thought, well, all right, well, Gary's going to be on the show tomorrow. I wonder if he can get Leroy out of retirement, because he basically described the ideal safety. And the fact of the matter is they didn't have guys like that on this team. And frankly, they haven't had guys like that, with the exception of probably Leroy and Nick Collins. Clinton Dix wasn't the guy he described. Darnell Savage wasn't the guy he described. He's got to be able to make plays on the ball and be a sure tackler. Neither one of those guys were able to do that consistently, at least in the schemes that they were in. So when you look at where the Packers are at that position, with virtually no one under contract, and how important that system is, the safety position is to that system, I think it's going to be really interesting what happens in free agency and the draft, because that sounds like one spot where they have to get it right for Hafley's defense to work at an optimal level.
I would agree. I think they need a player there. But if you go back and look at Savage in college, he was that guy in college. Mm-hmm. He made a lot of splash plays in and around the line of scrimmage in college. The Packers didn't play him that way. And so I think he was not a great fit in the defense that they had. Now, he's not big like Leroy. He's a little smaller. Mm-hmm. But in college, that was Savage. He made those types of splash plays in college. Now, can he do it again in the pros? I don't know. But this defense, to me, seemed like it would fit him if they put him in that spot. I believe they have that guy there with him. I just didn't see it. We didn't see it in this defense that they were in now because it was too passive. Yeah, that's not who Savage is.
In fairness to him, in his 2 years in Pettine's system, he looked more like the guy he was at Maryland than he did in the 3 years that he spent in Barry's system. Now, he is a free agent, so now they have to decide, with a new defensive coordinator and a new system that might fit his skill set better, do they re-sign him? What are they willing to pay him? Does he want to come back, or would he rather go play somewhere else and get a fresh start completely? I know when I talked to him at locker room cleanout day that he certainly was open-minded to the idea of coming back, but his answer made it sound like if Joe Barry is here, there ain't no way in God's green earth I'm going to be here. And
I think a lot of guys on that defense had that thought, not just him.
Right, and I think it's one of the reasons why they needed to move on. All right, we need to move on. We want to hear from Matt LaFleur, too. He spoke for a while, and he talked about his philosophy in changing defensive coordinators and changing schemes and how much the scheme really factored in to that decision. It sounded to me like he went into it very open-minded, and he wanted something that was going to be more aggressive, and whether that was 4-3, 3-4, Baltimore style, San Francisco style, it didn't really matter as much. He just knew that they needed to get more aggressive. We'll hear what Matt LaFleur had to say next with Gary Ellerson as our cousin sub of the day. It's Wilde Tausch.
Like, share.
This is Wilde Tausch on 94.5 ESPN, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, and sponsored by American Family Insurance. He's the most interesting man in sports radio.
Well, should I have a chip on my shoulder that I'm not making as much money as Skip Bayless?
In his mind, anyway. The Homer Hour, with special guests every day from 5 to 6.
I guess you could say it's getting better and better.
Well, no, you don't have to. You played on it. Maybe it didn't.
I don't think it ever did. Okay. I really don't.
The Homer Hour, with Homer. Weekdays from 5 to 6, right here on 94.5 ESPN, and streaming live on YouTube.
Ever wonder how the best athletes find the power to jump higher, cut quicker, skate smoother, drive farther, and stick the landing? At Prevea Orthopedics in Green Bay, we know power starts with the hips. That's why Dr. Michael Ryan and our team of experts provide comprehensive and advanced expertise in hip care, unlike anywhere else. Come to Prevea Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, where we can preserve your hips so you can pursue your goals. Prevea Orthopedics, specializing in you.
Cousins Subs is teaming up with Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin and Bobby Portis from January 15th to February 29th in support of their PB&J Challenge campaign. Throughout the campaign, Cousins will donate 50 cents for every kids' meal sold to support the challenge. But there's more. Kids will receive a Bobby Portis headband with each kids' meal purchase. And Cousins will be offering a limited-time-only PB&J kids' meal during the campaign. Cousins Subs. We believe in better. Headbands available while supplies last.
The Milwaukee Panthers men's basketball team is stacking good days this season. Cheer on the Panthers as they hit the court for 2 games this week at UWM Panther Arena. First up, on Friday, February 23rd, the Panthers take on Youngstown State. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock. Then on Sunday, Milwaukee battles Purdue Fort Wayne at 2 p.m. Experience all the action, including clutch three-pointers, rim-rattling dunks, and game-changing blocks. Visit MKEPanthers.com to lock in your seats. Tickets start at just $13. Panther Athletics for the MKE.
The Saganiac Planning Fantastic Finish, January 20th, 2006. A Big East battle at home against Notre Dame. It's 65-all, and Marquette inbounded the ball from midcourt with 12 seconds left. Down to 5 seconds, Joe Chapman on the right wing passed to Steve Novak, who ran in front of Chapman to get the pass. Novak dribbled into the right corner, and with 2 seconds left, faded to the right, put up a jumper just inside the three-point line. It was money. Oh, baby, final. Marquette 67, Notre Dame 65. Who makes dental and vision insurance simple? That's easy. Delta Dental of Wisconsin. If you ask yourself, who encourages you to use your dental and vision benefits for preventative care, provides quick service, offers access to the largest provider networks, and helps you save money when you need more than a checkup, there's only one answer. Definitely Delta Dental. For more information, call Eric Pearson, Saganiac Planning, 262-783-6161. Eric Pearson, Saganiac Planning, named synonymous with employee benefits and top-notch service.
Hi everyone, John Miller here from PDS, a Converge company. PDS has been providing technology solutions and transforming IT for area companies for over 30 years. Today, we are helping organizations integrate digital workplace strategies that are giving today's worker the true ability to work from anywhere as they balance work and life both securely and productively. And as HP's largest partner in the area, our combined solutions have never been more important. If you're struggling with this, know we stand ready to help. From ideation to transformation, we can help you evolve your work from anywhere strategy. Learn more at pdsit.net.
Hey, it's Jason Wilde for Associated Bank. Here in Wisconsin, we love our sports year-round, right down to the Packers games in the Lambeau snow. If you want to show your love for the green and gold every day, you got it with Associated Bank's exclusive Packers checking account. A one-of-a-kind debit card, a 10% discount at the Packers Pro Shop, plus everything you'll score as an Associated Bank customer. Best of all, you'll get a banking partner based right here in the Midwest. Visit AssociatedBank.com/Packers to get started today. You've got this with Associated Bank. Member FDIC.
You're listening to Wilde Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella at 855-PELLA-WI or visit online at PellaWI.com/radio.
I see the light go past my shoulder. I'm one less day from dying young, and I'm not afraid.
Before Jeff Apley took to the podium, Matt LaFleur spoke with us. He made a joke when he got up there, saying it was like a playoff atmosphere. There were so many people there, and I resisted the urge to say, "Yeah, that's because you haven't talked to us since 2 days after the season ended, and you've changed your entire staff, and we haven't seen you at all." So it was nice to hear from him, and it was nice to hear some about his thought process in not just moving on from Joe Barry, but in his search for his new defensive coordinator, who turned out to be Jeff Hafley. Here is Matt LaFleur talking about that process.
Certainly it will be a different scheme, but I think it's one that I think it will be easy to adjust to with the personnel that we have. That was something that certainly was at the forefront of my mind when we were going through this is you better make sure the pieces that we have in-house are capable of doing what he's going to expect of them, and I think we have that in-house. I think anytime you have good players, they should be able to adapt to most schemes. So felt comfortable with that, and like I said, it was a good process. You get to meet a lot of different people throughout the process, and definitely interviewed some really good football coaches.
So, Gary, we referenced Aaron Campman earlier, and you talked about the idea of these three potential defensive ends now as opposed to outside linebackers in Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith, Lucas Van Ness being adept at putting their hand in the ground. And look, this is not 1996 even, right? I mean, when we did the pregame show together at the Tundra Trio and Sean Jones came by and we spent time with him, and I love Sean. Like, he's one of the smartest cats I've ever covered. He's not the kind of guy that plays defensive end now either. Like, there are certainly guys like him, but like he was a really big dude, and they don't necessarily have to have gigantic guys. Now, Lucas Van Ness, Hercules, is cut, man. He is big, but he's also quick, and that's why they drafted him where they did. Beyond those guys, though, since you already gave your insight on them, what else are you looking for in this defense when Matt LaFleur is talking about how the guys in-house have to fit into it? Because the other spot that's interesting is linebacker. And I'm really curious about how Quay Walker and those type of guys fit.
So you've got to figure out, obviously, personnel and how guys fit in your system. I need Quay Walker to be Quay Walker at Georgia. Mm-hmm. And I feel like most of the time at Georgia, he was kind of on maybe the weak side or maybe the wide side, where he can run to the ball, not a whole lot of fit, this, that, and that. Just go where the football is, Quay, you go get it. And I felt like he played well at Georgia. When he got here, you put him at inside backer, and it just felt like he was a step or two close. I think what they've got to do is figure out personnel and what these guys do best. I'll give you an example. I remember my first year at Wisconsin, and I was more of a toss sweep kind of pick your hole kind of a back. And I remember Coach McClain came in and said, "Yeah, we like that play. We want to get you some more toss sweeps because you can read the hole." So we put in more toss sweep. Then he came in one day. He goes, "You know what? I got this other idea. We can do this toss sweep, but it's gonna put you in the sixth hole." And so we went in practice. I ran it. We played it. We played the game. I ran it, and I went back to coach. I said, "Coach, I don't like that." He goes, "You know what? You didn't look comfortable. I don't like it either. We took it out. We'll go back to the other toss sweep so you can pick and choose your hole." I get to Green Bay, and I remember I loved to run the draw, but we ran the draw out of the I formation. And then I remember Forrest yelling at Bob Snelker and goes, "Hey, can we run that draw out of a 2-back set and split backs. Bob goes, we don't have that. Forrest says, why not? We came back the next day. We ran draw from a split back set because that's what fit my style. So what they have to do with these guys is find what fit them and listen to what these players are saying, and then they'll have confidence and they'll buy in because players know what they can do well. But you got to be, when you first get in there, they got to be able to earn all that respect that they get. But they most certainly have to listen to these players and what they can do well in a particular scheme. I don't think they had that under the last regime.
I'm glad you brought that up because sometime in the 10 or the 11 o'clock hour, I know Jesse's been working on putting together a ton of the audio from yesterday, but I asked Jeff Hafley about that specifically. I referenced him talking in a podcast previously about coaching Darrelle Revis at Pitt and then again with the Buccaneers. And he said at the time, and he kind of reiterated it yesterday, how he learned more from coaching great players and them teaching him because they're the ones that are out there on the field. He talked about Richard Sherman, talked about a variety of guys. And I do think that was a shortcoming of the previous defensive coordinator. Jair Alexander will be happy to tell you all about that. And it is something that they need to be able to do here. Now, but I want to play that later because I want to circle back quick before the end of the first hour, and that is to what you said about Quay Walker. I agree with you, big surprise, but it was almost as if he's not the kind of guy, to your point, that you want to, and I'm not saying he's not a smart, bright guy. I'm not saying that at all. But he was clearly always having to think out there instead of react. And having played the game, explain how that may have factored in to him not being as effective as you would want your first-round pick to be in the first two seasons. Because everything was made of him getting kicked out of games. And, yeah, that wasn't good. But when I looked at him, the biggest issue I saw was, here's a guy that's not decisive. And that seemed to hold him back.
Well, the getting kicked out of game stuff, immaturity. So that really didn't have anything to do with his play. That's just growing up, learning how to be a professional, right? But when they drafted him, they saw what he was at Georgia. But when you brought him in here, you put him at another spot. I still think he could play outside linebacker. I still think he could be another guy that can go in the rotation with Preston Smith and Van Ness and those guys. I think that's his strong suit. Go get the quarterback. We saw that he can guard backs and tight ends out of backfield. He can do all that. But I don't think that's his forte. I think he gets used up just being in the middle of the field. You've got to figure out how to get him outside and where he can use his athletic ability. Let someone else. I think, to me, maybe that Isaiah McDuffie, I think he may be the prototypical inside linebacker that's where you want him to sit in the box. Quay Walker is more versatile than that. Can I say that?
Yeah,
I think he can do more for you. You get more out of him if you can get him out on the outside.
And in a 4-3, and I understand they're going to play a bunch of nickel and all the other stuff that comes with it. I get it. But in a 4-3 in base, you've got, that kind of A.J. Hawk. I know Blake Martinez didn't play in a 4-3 in Green Bay, but he's those are the guys, right? Those are the guys. They're the tackle machines. They've got kind of an area they know they've got to handle. And you would love to have, when they were in a 3-4 and you had Nick Barnett flowing one side or the other, I remember Niall Diggs was a really good, strong side linebacker for them.
Yes.
Right? And so, but in Quay Walker, I just think he's such a supreme athlete that you're right. He was kind of wasted in the previous scheme. He feels like a guy that could be reborn with this new system. We'll get into more of that.
I would agree.
We'll get into more of that, and we'll talk more about Jeff Halfley and his conversion to Green Bay and him living in Lodge Kohler as opposed to his 4 years in Boston and his family not being here. We'll get to that during the 10 o'clock hour, which is coming up. Want to remind you, I don't do a Tausch imitation. Jesse, you do a pretty good Tausch. I don't. I can't.
Mark Tauscher here.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to tell you about our great partnership with AmFam and their great partnership with the Badgers. And you can enter to win a Badgers Dream Game sweepstakes opportunity with American Family Insurance. You and a friend could receive a true VIP experience at a Wisconsin basketball game of your choice. It's season's almost over, but support your Badgers. Enter today and find more information at amfam.com/Badgers. That's amfam.com/Badgers. Don't purchase necessary. American Family Insurance. Insure carefully. Dream fearlessly. The 10 o'clock hour with Gary Ellerson is our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs. We believe in better. It's Wilde Tausch.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher here for my friends at Kohler Services. Thinking about updating your bath or shower? Well, turn to Kohler Services for end-to-end bath and shower remodeling. Family owned for 150 years, Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer providing care for life. This month only, get a free toilet with your Lugstone shower purchase, and you pay nothing until 2025. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote with fast professional installation always included. Again, that's KohlerServicesWI.com.
It's Auto Show time in Milwaukee. The best time to shop the newest cars, trucks, and SUVs. But you don't have to wait until the show. Experience your favorite models at your nearest Wilde now. Get special Auto Show savings with top dollar for your trade on over 700 new vehicles in stock. All backed by Wilde's exclusive 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Only during Wilde's Auto Show sales event. Go to ewaldsauto.com.
It's time for the Marquette Minute on 94.5 ESPN. Join Shaka Smart, Jen Latta, and special guest Cayman Hamilton on Thursday, February 29th from 6 to 7 p.m. for Marquette Thursdays at Motor Bar and Restaurant on the Harley-Davidson Museum campus.
The game was over early as number 7 Marquette jumped out to a 30-point halftime lead and cruised to an easy 105-71 victory over DePaul at Fiserv Forum. Tyler Kolek broke Tony Miller's single-game school assist record, dishing out 18 assists in the victory. Head coach Shaka Smart on his senior point guard.
It's so much fun to see him break that record, him play with that type of giving spirit.
Junior guard Cam Jones led all scorers with a career-high 34 points in the win. The Golden Eagles improved to 20-6 overall and 11-4 in Big East play. Next up, a matchup with Xavier Sunday afternoon right back at Fiserv 4.
This has been your Marquette Minute on 94.5 ESPN. Motor Bar and Restaurant on the Harley-Davidson Museum campus is the home of Marquette Thursdays all season long.
Tune in to KBN every day at 2 o'clock. Kyle Brust and Nortman. 94.5 ESPN is WKTI and WKTI HD, Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
With Gary Ellerson as our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. All right, so I am now 2 days and change into Paula and the girls being down in Florida for a gymnastics meet.
What?
Yeah. It's me,
Bachelor
2 dogs,
Wilde.
6 cats, and a lot of lonely nights. Yeah, it's... look, I don't claim to be the world's greatest dad. I do admit, though, that my life just basically revolves around the girls and Paula. I don't really, as Tausch is happy to tell everyone, I don't have many hobbies. I have a lot of friends. I just never see them. So last night, I forced myself Rob Domofsky's younger son, Roan, and the De Pere Redbirds were playing.
You went out?
Not too far from my house, so I went and saw them beat Green Bay Preble by 42 points. Wow. So I saw Rob and his lovely wife, Jessica, and Wes Hodkowitz and Matt Schneidman. So we had a fun time. That was nice, but the absence of Paula and the girls may have influenced one of the questions that I asked in the press conference yesterday. So we get to the end. Jason Wallers, the VP of Communications, sounds the last two more questions alarm, and somebody asks one question, and then there's kind of this, nobody has anything right away. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to pass up. And you never want to leave questions on the table. It's like timeouts. You don't want to have timeouts in your pocket at the end of a game.
Right, true.
And so Jeff Hafley had mentioned that his wife Gina and their two daughters are still back in Boston, and that he's been living at Lodge Kohler, and the benefit of that has been that he can really dive in. Like he's got nothing else now in Green Bay. He's here, so he's just in workaholic mode. And so I asked him, and it may have been influenced by my already loneliness that's setting in, about not having his family here and when he intends for them to come. To end the press conference, here is that exchange.
Jeff, I don't want the last question to be a dad question, but there's a bunch of them in here. When do Gina and the girls, do they finish out the school year? Like, are you going to be living at Lodge Kohler for the next X number of months without them? Or how do you kind of balance the quality of life part with the getting to work on the football part?
Well, I really appreciate you asking that, because that's actually really important, and I thank you for that. Yeah, that's hard. It's really hard. I got an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old. I think this is the first move that the 8-year-old understands that we're moving. The 5-year-old just knows that the new team's the Packers, right? So it's hard, and I'm very lucky to have a wife that understands. You know, she loved living in Boston. She had a great group of friends, and I'm moving, and I inherit friends who are the coaches, and I have something to do every day. And now she's got to find new friends. We got to find a new place to live, and she's got to do most of the moving. So it's a lot harder on her than it is to me. So I'm very grateful, and I really appreciate her for that. I'm going to get home this weekend and try to go back and forth as much as I can. But that's about the best I can do right now. But it's very important for me to be around her and the kids, and you guys will see them around as much as possible, because that's very important to me. So thank you for asking that question.
So I think I scored some brownie points with the new defensive coordinator thanks to that question.
No, he went back and immediately asked Matt LaFleur, who was that guy? Who's that guy? And LaFleur gave him the 10-4 rundown on you. That's exactly what happened.
He's the guy that asks the longest questions, but seriously,
you'll find out. Who's that guy?
Gary, look, you're a dad. I know your kids are grown, and you're super proud. I do think that, and I'm not making light of this, but if you're starting a new job and your family doesn't come right away because they're finishing out the school year in Boston, like, it is great for him. Like, it's great for him from a work perspective because, like he said earlier in the press conference, he's got nothing to go home to other than a room at Lodge Kohler. Like, he can grind as much as he can to get to know this team as opposed to, I got a 7th grade basketball game to go to or whatever else I've got in my life. And so while the drawback is you're not with the people that you love, there's a huge positive from the work perspective. And I thought that was important because, let's be honest, he's got a lot of catching up to do from a personnel perspective. He knows all about the ACC rosters of the, of Syracuse and North Carolina, because that's where he was coaching. He wasn't coaching in the NFL. And as you mentioned earlier, the line he had about what it's like to coach in college, which I also thought was fascinating, where he's not only recruiting, but recruiting the guys that are already on his team to get them to stay. Like, this is a whole new world. So this is probably a good thing from a work perspective that his family's not here, isn't it?
Right. I felt like this is good for him. I must say this. His wife understands what this is. And she knows that this is not his last job. We know that this is not his last job. He may move 4 or 5 more times, but this is professional sports. We have players too, where some players don't even bring their whole family with them. They elect to stay back maybe in their hometown, and then they come and visit. Then there's some players who bring their families with them, and then they get indoctrinated into the Green Bay lifestyle. And some coaches end up staying here forever. So they know what that looks like. But for Hafley at this point in time, it feels like he is almost a breath of fresh air for him. What it sounds like that he can now get back and watch film, do what he loves to do. It just didn't feel like that's what he was doing at Boston College. Now, his wife is not here, so he can stay over at the facility as long as he wants. Lodge Kohler is not a bad place to live.
No, it is pretty nice.
He can go over there. It's pretty nice over there. It's pretty swanky. He can go back over there and watch a little bit more film as well. But I'm sure a lot like yourself, though, you do miss your children. You do miss your wife. You do miss your family when you're away. And I'm sure you got 2 dogs?
2 dogs, 6 cats.
Yeah, and any birds?
No, if we did, I think the cats might have taken care of them.
No birds? Well, you got a cage. You can put them in a cage and let them fly around the house.
Fair.
But I'm sure, that he misses his family, and I'm sure they'll be here as soon. But a lot of coaches, though, they normally bring their family with them because they know they may be in a coaching situation about 4 to 5 years. So that's their longevity.
Yeah, and you're right. I know I had this conversation with Keyshawn Nixon during the season. His wife and kids stayed out in California, and they would come visit for a few home game weekends. But the thought process was basically, and especially now with the off-season program being more voluntary than when I first started covering the league, when it was voluntary in name only, and the coaches got really pissed if he didn't come. He stays away from a good portion of the off-season program, so it actually works pretty effectively for him. All right, I want to get into more of what Matt LaFleur said about what this defense is going to look like, because again, I don't think he was married to any specific system or base defense, but he definitely had a vision for what he wanted it to look like, and we'll hear him describe that coming up next. There's a quick trip. When I drive to Lambeau Field almost every day during the season, there's a quick trip on Lombardi Avenue that is right on my way, so I can swing in, I can get a Glazer or a Dunker, depends on which donut mood I'm in. I can get my Karuba coffee. I can get everything that I need on my way to Lambeau Field. I personally am a fan of the turkey and Swiss sandwich on the cranberry bread. It's so good. Here's the reality. When it comes to Quick Trip, what I love about them is they have everything, and I mean everything. Milk, eggs, butter, bread, all the daily essentials I could possibly need, especially in between those larger shopping trips. Heck, they even make half the products they sell, and that's a selling point enough in itself. So Quick Trip, they're doing everything they're doing everyone a solid with the Quick Trip Hot Savings this week. So listen up. Quick Trip has their Kitchen Cravings 12-ounce packs of bacon. Tausch has been raving about this all week. On sale for just $2.49. I saw it on the billboard on my drive to Lambeau, and then I saw it at Quick Trip when I stopped there. Like Tausch needs another reason to stop at Quick Trip. Am I right? I'll stop there as well. Quick Trip. They'll see you next time. More with Gary Ellerson, our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. It's Wilde Tausch.
This
Wilde Tausch is presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella at 855-PELLA-WI or visit online at PellaWI.com/radio. Whether it's live or in podcast form, you've heard us on air with all of our shenanigans.
Gabe, I'm throwing some Why are you? I don't want.
Now see your favorite 94.5 ESPN shows streaming on video.
By me, by the way. I hit that microphone like 4 out of 6 times on that.
Subscribe to ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube and get notified when we hit the air live. Plus, you can watch back any second that you miss and see original digital content too. Watch, listen, interact. ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
ESPN Wisconsin's Ben Brust here because Forward Healthy Lifestyles has shown me that getting older doesn't mean you have to feel older. We used to think getting older meant having less energy, less muscle, less endurance, less sex, and perhaps a bit more joint pain and weight around that waist. Not anymore. The experts at Forward Healthy Lifestyles help men optimize their hormone levels, including testosterone, providing cutting-edge regenerative medicine therapies, and even help men lose stubborn weight with programs like semaglutide. In 2024, change your life. Visit forwardhealthylifestyles.com for a free consultation.
Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Alex Strofe.
This Badger Minute brought to you by UW Credit Union. For over 90 years, UW Credit Union has helped Wisconsinites achieve their financial goals at every stage of life, offering great rates for greater possibilities. Join today at uwcu.org. The Wisconsin Badgers football team has filled out their coaching staff for the upcoming season, according to ESPN's Pete Thamel. Reported Thursday, the Badgers are hiring Air Force defensive ends coach E.J. Whitlow as their next defensive line coach, replacing Greg Scruggs after just one season. Whitlow was previously at Miami of Ohio and Grand Valley State, where he spent time with current Badgers outside linebackers coach Matt Mitchell. Last season, in charge of Air Force's defensive ends, the Falcons had the #1 total defense in the country, as well as the #2 passing defense.
Get 0% interest for up to 3 years, or get no money down, no interest, and no payments for up to 18 months at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Visit PellaWI.com.
Hey, it's Gary Olson here for Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center. Looking for that midday escape? Or maybe you want to impress a client? No matter the season, rain, snow, or shine, Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center is open for you. A top-tech, cutting-edge golf experience that gives you the chance to play legendary courses. Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center simulators, entertainment, and best Bloody Marys make it feel like summer all year round. Just $35 an hour gets you a round and puts that summer feel back in your life. Book your bay at WisconsinIndoorGolfCenter.com.
For over 4 decades, one name has stood out as a symbol of excellence in automotive sales and service. It's the Boucher Automotive Group, dedicated to providing exceptional experiences to all of our valued customers.
We will help you find the perfect vehicle within your budget while respecting your time.
With 20 convenient locations, we're the one-stop destination for all your automotive needs.
At Boucher, we're your trusted partner on every mile of your journey, riding with you every mile since 1977.
Check out our brand new Hyundai dealership, one of the largest in the Midwest.
Step inside of our state-of-the-art showroom where you can view our new Hyundai models and some of our finest certified pre-owned.
We've also expanded our service center, staffed by our factory-certified technicians.
And right next door, we've started construction on our all-new Genesis of Waukesha dealership.
But we're not just building walls, we're building careers.
So if you're looking for a career with great benefits and opportunity for growth, Boucher is the place for you.
At Boucher, we ride with you every mile.
Hi there, Governor Evers here with some big news. The Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection is now accepting applications for the Wisconsin Resilient Food Systems Infrastructure Program. DETCAP will award $27 million in grant funding for innovative projects designed to build resilience across the middle of the supply chain. The deadline to apply is March 6th. Find more information at patcp.wi.gov.
Paid for by the Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection.
You're listening to Wilde Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and sponsored by American Family Insurance.
So, Gary, here was the weird thing about yesterday, and maybe that's not the right choice of words, because I think I should have known better, but I think when there's a new coordinator, offense, defense, special teams, one of the things that is the focus is obviously the scheme, right? The system. What exactly are you going to run? What are the core beliefs and the kind of the tenets of what you want to do as a coordinator. And certainly we got into that with Hafley eventually. But I thought it was really interesting that Matt LaFleur went into this process without, the last time they changed defensive coordinators who changed schemes, Mike McCarthy wanted the 3-4. Like he basically said, I want the 3-4 and I want the guy who knows the most about it, so I'm going to get Dom Capers after he fired Bob
Invented
Sanders.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the fact that he went into this, LaFleur did, with a different attitude, I just thought was fascinating. I want you to hear this because, yes, they're going to run a variation of the Jets, 49ers, Houston Texans with DeMeco Ryans as their head coach now system. And that is important, but I thought it was really interesting how much LaFleur emphasized style of play over scheme of play. I want you to listen to this and tell me what you thought.
Okay. As an offensive guy, I feel like we can poke holes in every scheme. And I really do believe that. There's going to be a weakness to every scheme. But so to me, when I look at and think about great defenses in this league, it's a style of play. It's how do these guys attack the football? How do they approach the ball carrier? And how relentless are they playing each and every play? The effort that they give. And that is definitely a staple of that defense. Whether it's San Francisco, whether it's the Jets. Watched a lot of Houston over the last few days, and they are relentless. It's just it comes down to style of play.
I'll say this: there aren't many times where I would look at the Packers' defense the last 3 years and said they were relentless. What do you make of what he said there?
Well, I think an attitude change needs to happen defensively. And I think that's what they're getting at. And that's why, if you look at some of the assistants that they hired, these guys are high motor guys. These guys are a little bit more vocal than what they've had in years past. And if you go back and look at San Francisco, though, although I thought they had the two best linebackers in the game where they can run sideline to sideline to get after you. If you look at Bosa as a defensive end over there, he's probably one of the better defensive ends in the game. But I feel like Rashawn Gary could be just as good in that same spot if they allow him to be that guy. So I think they have the pieces. I think what they're trying to do defensively is a attitude change over there on that side of football, and that's what needs to happen. There's no mistake that the guys that they are bringing in to coach these guys are guys that are very loud, very vocal, not necessarily intimidating, but they're just trying to ramp it up a little bit so you can give them better effort. And I don't think they got that all the time. For me, on the defensive side of the ball, it's really about getting to the football. I mean, there's X's and O's and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, you got to find the football and you got to get to it with effort. And a lot of that overcomes a lot of things on the defense side of the ball. If you're lazy, if you're not communicating, then it's not going to work. And that seems to happen a lot last year in Green Bay. That's what I make of it.
So I know I reference Leroy a lot because you two have been friends for a long time. You did radio together. You do TV together. Yeah. But look, the 96 Packers defense that helped them win the Super Bowl was number one in scoring defense, number one in yardage allowed. But more importantly, they had a swagger. They had an attitude. Yeah. They had, multiple Hall of Famers, right, with Leroy and Reggie. And I'm not saying that, Lucas Van Ness is going to be a Pro Football Hall of Famer. So what they need to have is an attitude. And when you talk about that, why is that so important? And why is that so hard to have? Because I agree, they didn't seem to have much of an attitude the last 3 years. And maybe it was the style of play that was part of that.
Because the defense I think is easier to teach. Offense is so much more complex. We always hear coming out of the training camp that the defense is ahead of the offense because the offense got so many plays to put in. There's only so many zone concepts that you can put in as far from a defensive standpoint. And sometimes there's a guy with a football, you need to go get him. And they just didn't have that. I think that's what you're going to see right now from the Packers. They need a attitude change overall on that defensive side of the ball. And I think when you watch the 49ers and what they were able to do, absolutely incredible. I don't necessarily think that the Lions defense is that much better than the Packers, but they flew around. I mean, there was an attitude there with their coaching staff, instilled by the head coach, is that no holes is barred. And that's what's got to happen, I believe, in Green Bay. You look at Matt LaFleur right now, and I don't think he gets the credit. I think he's one of the brightest minds right now from an offensive standpoint in the NFL. The plays that he designed to get guys open, we saw this from day one. The plays that he designs to get guys open are absolutely incredible. He understands how to expose the defense. And to have him, I think his input is good, but we don't want Matt LaFleur really on the defensive side of football anymore. We need for him to not let the defense go, let them have it, and continue to be on that offense and continue to make that offense great.
So I'm glad you bring that up because, and we won't play the clip, but that was one of the other things that I kind of wanted to get to with LaFleur yesterday, because let's be honest, taking a guy from the college game who was a head coach for 4 years at Boston College is not necessarily what we were expecting them to do.
No.
Right? We expected them to take, and look, he interviewed two really good candidates who got defensive coordinator jobs themselves from Baltimore in Denard Wilson and Zach Orr, our buddy Chris Orr's older brother. And I'll be honest, I think he was really, really, really interested in both of them. They talked to other NFL assistants, and Jeff Hafley has NFL experience. I'm not saying he doesn't. We all know he coached in Tampa, he coached in San Francisco. I get that. But the decision to go that way, some might argue, you took a guy that's been out of the NFL game who, as Gary pointed out, was excited to be watching film because he was doing so much other stuff while coaching a college program. But on the flip side, he's been a head coach. He's been at the front of the room. And to your point, how valuable is it to have a guy, and this was my point to Matt, now you got a guy who could just basically be the head coach of the defense. And you go from talking about how you need to be more involved with Joe Barry's defense and actually entertaining the idea of not being the offensive play caller because you need to be more involved defensively. So now you got a guy who's been a head coach. Just let him run the defense. And you can say what you want and tell him, hey, can we do this, and talk to him. But let him do it. That's got to be incredibly valuable, doesn't it?
You're right. He's got to give it to the defensive coordinator. I mean, I think he's got to know the head coach's concepts and what they want to do. You get that done early on in camp and let this man come in and do his job. I go back to the interview when Matt LaFleur threw out that I may let someone else call the plays, and my young man that I'm talking to right now, co-host Jason Wilde, goes, hey, wait a minute, you just can't flippantly say that, can you?
You did enjoy that when I did that, yes, I know.
I did. And I was like, I was hoping somebody would because when I heard him say that, I went, what? And you go, hey, wait a minute, slow this down. You know what you just said?
Right.
You're one of the best play callers in the game. You want to give up play. Run that back. You're not thinking about that, right?
It was ridiculous, especially when you look at what Jordan Love did this season. Right? They were in, and you know this, and you mentioned Bob Schnelker earlier, which you have to be, it was nice of you to call me young.
I don't know, Bob.
Because I'm only young compared to you, but Bob Schnelker was the offensive coordinator in Green Bay. I remember my grandparents always complaining about his play calling. So I get it, right? It's not an easy job either, but when you look at what Matt LaFleur did with his first-year starting quarterback and the rhythm that those two were in, why on earth would you entertain that possibility? That was when I knew that he wasn't bringing Joe Barry back. When he said that, stop and think about what you're saying, man.
Best press conference moment of the year.
And your voice got that high. It was. You got the high-pitched voice. Hey, wait a minute.
I really did. You're not wrong. I really did. That's how I sounded.
That and Joe Barry explaining what turnovers and takeaways are were the two best press conference moments of the year.
Yeah, I'm going to miss Joe explaining the simple aspects of the game. All right. I do think this is a good time because I want to get into something that our buddy Rob Domofsky wrote about Jordan Love. So we'll use this as a segue to talk about what he said, and then we'll circle back to Jeff Hafley and Matt LaFleur during the 11 o'clock hour. But I want to get to this story that Rob did because, and Gary knows this better than anyone having played in the league, that every season comes down to a handful of plays. Doesn't matter if you were the 1999 team that young Jason Wilde wrote a story about 6 plays that defined their season because they were 6 plays that if they go the other way, Ray Rhodes isn't 8-8. Ray Rhodes is like 11-5 and isn't losing his job. But that's how small the margin for error is in the NFL. And there were some plays that Rob wrote about in his piece at ESPN.com about what defined the season that Jordan Love had. Because, again, and we saw him throw the interception at the end of the 49ers game, some of those plays go the other way, and we're not looking at Jordan Love through the same lens that we're looking at him through as we get ready for the 2024 season. So we'll talk about that coming up. Want to remind you, usually when the season's going on, we do our Steinhoffel Sleepers of the Week. Not today. We cannot tell a lie. You know where I'm going here. Steinhoffel's best President's Day sale ever has been extended. In addition to incredibly priced bonus buys throughout the store, you'll take 5% off Canadell Dining, 10% off Tiffany lamps and area rugs, and 15% off ottoman trays. Plus, use their 18-month 0% APR financing when you spend over $999, or take 5% off an upholstery purchase. There are all kinds of great things going on during the President's Day sale, which has been extended. Whether you're looking for the newest furniture and mattress trends or love the classic looks, Steinhoffel's has something for everyone. Shop in-store and online at steinhoffels.com. We'll talk about Jordan Love next with Gary Ellerson, our Cousin Sub of the Day. Cousin Subs, we believe in better.
On air, online, and on demand. Get all your favorite ESPN Wisconsin content anywhere you get your podcasts for free. The new Wisconsin On Demand. It's free, it's everywhere, and it's for you.
Hey, Wayne, shopping for a new door? Do you need something more dependable?
Yes, something that's durable, dent-resistant, knows how to take a hit, and is going to last for years.
We're still talking about the door, right?
Oh, yeah, right, of course.
Wayne Larrabee and Jeff Levering shopping together at Pella? What next? How about 0% interest for up to 60 months when you place your order by February 23rd at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Offer ends 2/23/2024.
We've told you about Moses Hadara,
the diamond cutter who created the Kessler 81.
The magical diamond that vibrates with light.
Kessler's works with crazy diamond cutters.
Geniuses who create wonderful, spectacular,
crazy diamond shapes.
The one thing these crazy genius diamonds all have in common
is that they explode with light.
The Kessler Emerald Cut diamond sends out rippling waves of light, like water lapping onto a beach.
The Kessler Square Radiant diamond glows like the sun on the horizon.
Sometimes sunrise,
sometimes sunset.
Come to Kessler's.
Come to Kessler's.
Come to Kessler's.
Ask to see the rippling waves of light, like water on the beach.
Ask to see the glow that looks like sunrise and sunset.
Ask to see the Kessler Crazy Genius Diamonds.
See them for yourself.
See them for yourself.
See them for yourself.
To find the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Tune in to Behind the Bucks on the Bucks Plus Audio Network, presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Behind the Bucks peels back the curtain to give fans unique access and deep storytelling unlike ever before. Subscribe and download right now to get a companion podcast to the new Amazon documentary, Giannis, A Marvelous Journey. Hear about the making of the dog and learn about how Milwaukee became home for the Adetokounmpo family. Find Behind the Bucks at bucks.com/plus or wherever you get your podcasts.
The Greater Milwaukee Golf Show presented by Old Fashioned Golf returns Friday, March 1st through Sunday, March 3rd at a new location in Franklin at Mosh Performance Center and Lux Golf Bays. Save $5 on advance tickets at RoyalGolfShows.com. The first 1,000 people each day get a free sleeve of golf balls. Experience what Lux Golf has to offer in their new free hitting bays. It's the Greater Milwaukee Golf Show March 1st through the 3rd at Mosh and Lux Golf Bays in Franklin with free parking. Visit RoyleGolfShows.com.
A new year means new goals for Wisconsin hoops teams. The red and white will make a run to the tournament, and Milwaukee is eyeing up a playoff run in the spring. As Wisconsin's 3PL Evans Transportation knows, it takes a team effort to make those runs, and when it comes to manufacturers' accounting, shipping, and tracking needs, Evans is the supply chain team for you. Good luck to all Wisconsin hoops teams from Wisconsin's 3PL. Find them at evanstrans.com.
The moment you've been waiting for is here. Eagle Sports Range is officially open for action. It's Wisconsin's largest indoor range, offering unlimited range time in 40 lanes, which include 20 20-yard lanes and 20 50-yard lanes, and no reservations needed. Just show up and let the fun begin. With a staggering selection of 100 firearm rentals to use, every visit is a new adventure. Eagle Sports Range is also a go-to for education. Take advantage of their concealed carry classes and gun safety courses. Safety first, excitement second. Visit them out in Cudahy or online at eaglesportsrange.com. Eagle Sports Range, where education meets exhilaration.
Hey, this is Jen Latta from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. One of the best decisions I made recently was getting an infrared sauna from Good Health Saunas. They're a local business that's been around for 2 decades, based right in Appleton and Waukesha. Good Health Saunas are easy to install, cost as little as 25 cents a day, and include a true lifetime warranty. Even firefighters all across the country trust Good Health Saunas for sweating smoke out of their skin after fighting fire. Learn more at goodhealthsaunas.com. That's goodhealthsaunas.com.
This is Wilde Tausch on 94.5 ESPN, sponsored by American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
We spent some time yesterday with our buddy Rob Domofsky from ESPN.com, and then I spent some time with him at a basketball game, watching his son Roan, who was in double digits, played really well. Preble had a hard time.
Are they still undefeated?
They are not. They lost to Wisconsin Lutheran.
The Knipple kid?
Yes, Duke commit. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's their only loss this season, but they are number one in Division I and could repeat as WIAA state champs. Jesse, you called one of their games, didn't you?
Strofe did last week. We had
that's right. We had the A team.
Yeah, the A team went and did that game. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I had Sun Prairie East West, which was amazing on Tuesday night. I got news for everyone as you're filling out your boys basketball brackets. It's De Pere in Division I. It's Wisconsin Lutheran in Division II. You take them or the field. This is kind of like when Kentucky was undefeated or Tiger Woods in his prime. Like it's those two and everybody else in Division I, Division II.
We got no city schools in there?
No. Those two teams are so like Pewaukee's won it 3 straight years in D2 and Wisconsin Lutherans beat them twice already this year. It's looking like a 1-2 punch. It's them and everybody else at the top.
As someone who covered a lot of high school basketball.
What about Auburndale's not in there?
They haven't been good since they lost their portly center with the great feet.
Old T.
Old T. I was at that game.
What?
I watched that game at I was at that game.
Did you see a future NFL right tackle while you were watching that game? Did you think, this guy's got some good feet?
He had great feet.
Yeah.
He got great feet. Yeah. I was at that game. I watched that game. Everybody was talking about him there. Everybody knew he was coming to Wisconsin.
I didn't realize that one of the UW Milwaukee assistant coaches on the men's side was one of the players that I covered. He played for one of the city schools. I want to say Vincent, maybe. Winston is his last name. And I was thinking back to my days of covering the state tournament. I love the boys and girls basketball state tournaments. Turns out I should be going to them to see what Mark Murphy might say on the television broadcasts.
This is true.
But it's true.
This is true.
But man,
This
that's
is
great.
true.
So I'm looking forward to Sydney and I are going to go to the girls' games because those are played here in Green Bay at the Resch Center. So I look forward to that. All right, we need to get to Rob Demovsky's story because, Jesse, you've been pushing this story. I mean, it's on the show sheet every day, and knowing how Tausch is...
He doesn't read it.
A, he doesn't read it, and B, it doesn't matter if he did read it because he would talk about something else anyway. So tell us a little bit about Rob's story and what these plays are that jumped out at you from Rob.
So Rob's story, this is all the way from late last week, I think this thing was first published. 7 plays that defined Jordan Love's breakout for the Packers. 7 plays from the season that defined Jordan Love's experience. Here we go.
Ooh, the music and everything.
Yeah, play number 1, week 9 against the Rams. 4th quarter, 2nd and 7 at the 20. Touchdown pass to Luke Musgrave. I was in the stands not sleeping at that game. He finds him over the middle of the field, helps propel the Packers to a much-needed victory after the big losing skid, the October swoon, as Tausch would tell us. That was the one that helped turn the season around. Week 12 is play number 2. The very first play from scrimmage, touchdown pass to Christian Watson in Detroit on Thanksgiving Day. Remember that one. And then I think he double dips here. He goes with the second touchdown as well, which came with 12:16 to go in the first quarter. Both of those touchdowns. Second one was to Jaden Reed.
So, Jesse, I want to rewind for a second to the Rams game because that always gets included in his kind of run of good play. But it actually is the week before the Pittsburgh game that happens, if I remember correctly. And while his numbers were good, it was check down city. I remember seeing Gary in the press box at that game, and they won. But had Matthew Stafford played, I still think they lose that game. The Rams scored 3 points. They were terrible. I mean, awful offensively.
Yeah, they were bad.
So bad that their quarterback, Brett Rippon, is that who he was?
That's who it was.
They cut him 2 days later. Like, he started a game, and then 2 days later, he's no longer on the roster. So
you can't do it. No,
while that might have been a good throw on that touchdown, and it is part of him building the momentum he had at the end of the season, I'm sorry, he didn't take off until the game in which he threw 2 picks, but he played way different, and that was in Pittsburgh. You may continue.
Week 13, a pair of plays against the Kansas City Chiefs with Taylor Swift in attendance, the Super Bowl champions. 3rd quarter, 4th and 1 from the Chiefs' 44. Throws a 33-yard pass to Romeo Doubs. And then 2nd and goal from the Chiefs' 12. Touchdown to Christian Watson. Amazing play in the end zone that helps propel the Packers to that huge Sunday night victory, which really helped propel the rest of the season.
It's true.
Week 15, in a loss to Tampa, that incredible touchdown pass in the corner of the end zone to Jaden Reed, tiptoeing the sidelines.
That was a hell of a
That
play.
was his best wow play of the year, right? We all agree on that? That was incredible. Then the last one from Rob in the wild card round of the playoffs, 2nd quarter, 3rd and 7 at the Cowboys 20. The touchdown pass to Dontavian Wicks, left side of the field. Similar to that Jaden Reed play against the Buccaneers, tiptoeing on the sideline. Heck of a play, heck of a touchdown, kind of an exclamation point on what was an outstanding first half in Dallas for the Green Bay Packers. Those, per Rob Demovsky, the 7 plays that defined Jordan Love's success with the Green Bay Packers in 2023.
So, Gary, when you think back to this season, and that was a good way to kind of go through some of the best moments, but when you think back to how he looked at the beginning of the year, and the indecisiveness, the inaccuracy, and then the way he looked at the end of the year, to the point where, and I keep saying this, but it's true, he was so good that when he made a first-year starter type of mistake when he threw that pick at the end of the 49ers game, we were all shocked because we thought he was too good to make that kind of mistake. That's how far he'd come. Take us back to what you were thinking as you watched him early in the year and how that evolved for you, knowing the game the way you do, as you watched him progress throughout the season.
I think the one thing that I hung my hat on is that dude never changed. I mean, his attitude never changed. He never got it felt like the moment was never too big for him. Even at 2-5, he never changed who he was, even during the game. And that there was no real frustration about him. A lot of times you see these young quarterbacks struggle like that. I mean, you see them, they maybe throw their helmet, or maybe you just see this scowl on their faces. Dude never changed. And to me, I think when we go back and look at that whole season, from what he was at the beginning to where he ended up, he was still the same guy when he had all the success that he had. And to me, that's when I thought, I said, you know what? We may have something here. You're coming in after Aaron Rodgers and trying to prove who you are and still maintain your calm composure, because there's got to be a lot of pressure on this young man to do and to perform well just on the Aaron Rodgers factor alone. Not because he's a good quarterback, but just on that, because the Packers decided to move on, and the guy never wavered. Now, one play I would say to me that I thought was absolutely incredible, I believe it was Kansas City. I'm not exactly sure, but maybe you remember the throw. It was to Romeo Doubs in the middle of the field, and it looked like it was going to be like a lollipop. And that ball dropped around like 3 players in the middle of the field. And I'm saying to myself, no, what are you doing? What are you doing? Mm-hmm. All they showed was a quarterback. And then the camera moved, and you can see this ball come down between like 3-4 players, and the only one person could catch it and did, and that was Dobbs. And then I asked myself, did he throw that up? Or was that for real? Now, you know what? He knew what he was doing. That's how good of the throws that he was making later on in the season. It was unbelievable.
Right. And I just, Matt LaFleur always loves to say indecisive equals ineffective. But he was indecisive. Right. And he admitted that, he did a few different interviews at the Super Bowl. And he finally, both he and Matt LaFleur in their own ways said, we got to let it rip. Matt LaFleur did it as a play caller. Jordan Love did it as a thrower, and everything changed. And now we're looking at him as one of the top projected candidates for MVP. We're talking about the Packers as a Super Bowl contender. And when they were 2-5 and trading Rasul Douglas, you would have never thought you'd be saying that about them. And instead, we saw what happened in the second half of the season, and we have a totally different outlook on next year. Right. All right, we need to play some trivia. Okay. Jesse, what's today's category, and what caller would you like?
I knew we were going to go heavy Packers, big conversation today, so I went back to my wheelhouse, selfishly.
Okay.
The Jesse Special, state capitals is today's trivia category.
Oh, my God.
Totally off the board. We're going state capitals.
All right, what caller would you like? Caller 50?
We just did Jordan Love's 7 great plays. Let's do caller number 7.
All right, caller 7 right now, 844-770-3776, 844-770-3776. We will play trivia with the 7th caller next with Gary Ellerson as our cousin sub of the day. It's Wilde Tausch.
Wilde and Tausch continues next on 94.5 ESPN, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, and sponsored by American Family Insurance. In season, off season, draft season. Whatever season it is, we are Milwaukee's place to talk green and gold. Listen, watch, or stream live whenever, wherever. 94.5 ESPN.
If only life had a remote control, you could pause or rewind. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because our home policies help protect your dreams and come with peace of mind. Save up to 25% by bundling home, auto, and life. American Family Insurance. Get a quote, find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Discounts may not apply to all coverages on an auto or home policy. Discounts do not apply to life insurance policies. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, American Family Life Insurance Company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Join the Milwaukee Bucks on February 27th as we celebrate historically black colleges and universities at our HBCU game presented by JCI. Enjoy pregame, halftime, and postgame events that honor the legacy and excellence of historically black colleges and universities and those who attended them. For more information and to purchase an HBCU night ticket package, visit bucks.com/impact.
Milwaukee, it's time to lace up those shoes for the 12th annual Lucky Leprechauns 7K, hosted by Left's Lucky Town on Saturday, March 9th, benefiting the MAC Fund, Midwest Athletes Against Childhood Cancer. Register now and experience the excitement. Participants get 2 free beers, a stylish race shirt, and a blingy medal to show off. Stick around for the post-race party where you can roast marshmallows, enjoy Tito's Ice Shots for charity, listen to live music, and much more. Register now at LuckyLeprechaunRun.com and be part of Milwaukee's biggest St. Patty's Weekend celebration.
UW Credit Union presents the Student Athlete of the Week, supporting local student athletes as they grow on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. UW Credit Union is here for every you. Learn more at uwcu.org. Here's Ashton Rockman with the UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week.
This week's UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week is Kettle Moraine basketball player Will Stuckey. The 6'1" senior guard has been one of the driving forces behind Kettle Moraine being one of the top seeds in the WIAA boys basketball tournament bracket, entering the week with a 19-3 record on the season. As part of that top seed season, Stuckey has 16.5 points per game and is shooting 47% from 3, an improvement on last year's already solid 40%. The Blazers will get a regional quarterfinal bye to start the tournament, a tournament, by the way, which they qualified for state last season. Stuckey does have plans to keep pursuing basketball at the next level as well. He has committed to St. Norbert College, where he will play Division III basketball. Congratulations to this week's UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week, Will Stuckey.
Oh, how great it would feel to have your 20-year-old knees, shoulders, hips, and back.
You know, you don't think about your pains when you're in your 20s or 30s, but you wish you could get that body back when you're in your 60s. I think QC did that for me.
For Patrick, here in Milwaukee, it started with a simple phone call to QC Kinetics.
One day I was driving and I just heard the radio and I pulled over and took the number and I called them when I got home.
Maybe that's you, and you're listening right now. Why wait? QC Kinetics Regenerative Treatments uses your body's own natural biologics to heal and restore damaged tissue without invasive surgery or harmful drugs. And as for the results,
my knees are as good as they were when I was in my 20s. I'm really happy with what happened.
For Patrick, it's like QC Kinetics turned back the clock. Now it's your turn. Call QC Kinetics today for your complimentary consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
You're listening to Wilde Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Missed any of the show? Find us on Wisconsin On Demand wherever you get your podcasts. It's free, it's everywhere, and it's for you.
Time now for trivia. All right, here's what we're going to do. Because Gary is such an esteemed cousin sub of the day, cousin subs, we believe in better, we are going to give him the Wilde Tausch treatment for trivia.
Uh-oh.
So here's what that means.
Now, you're
going
to like it.
That means you don't, because Tausch loves it when he doesn't have to do much work. So, what we're gonna do is I'll handle all the questions. This is what we do with Tausch when he's especially when we do Wisconsin geography trivia, but at other times too. I'll handle all the questions. The contestant, who we will welcome in momentarily, will answer, and then you will have your opportunity to agree or disagree with his choice. Kind of like the old Hollywood squares. Circle gets the square. We'll see if you and our contestant end up on the same page. Now, you're not allowed to help him come up with his answer, but once he's committed, we'll see if you're on the same page with him. Because, from what I understand, you're both from the same area these days. It is Hugh in Waukesha. Hugh, good morning. How are you?
Good. Good morning.
I'm being told not only are you a first-time contestant, but the category is state capitals, and your favorite trivia question is about a state capital?
This is true.
Well, you got to tell us, you got to ask the trivia question. You do not get extra entries for this, of course, because Tausch loves to give those away as well. What's your favorite trivia question?
There is one state capital that shares no letters with the state that it's the capital of. What is it?
Oh, wow.
Indianapolis. Oh, wait. No, that's the opposite. I have Hugh. Tell us the answer.
Well, a rookie tight end for the Packers would know this. It's Pierre, South Dakota.
Great places, South Dakota.
Wow.
That's
couldn't have drawn that up any better.
That's funny that you mentioned that, Hugh.
Wow.
Because
we got a surprise for you.
Because let me ask you question number one now. This is unbelievable.
Jesus.
Question number one, Hugh, is this. What is the capital of South Dakota?
Great places, South Dakota.
You gotta be kidding.
Is it Pierre, Rapid City, or Jackrabbitsville?
I'm pretty sure it's Pierre, which shares no letters with the state that it's the capital of.
That's what I've been hearing. Nice. You're 1 for 1. And you were 1 for 1 before question 1 had even been asked. So well done.
That's a first.
Now, do I say I agree here? This is where I jump in here, or what?
If you'd like to agree here, yes, that would probably be wise, from what I can tell.
Is that where I jump in? Okay.
Come on board.
I agree.
Come on board.
Here we go. I agree.
Well done, Gary. Good work. All right, question 2 to both of you.
Sure.
Latitudinally.
That's a big word.
It is a big word. Which of these state capitals is located farthest north? Farthest north, Hugh. Is it Indianapolis, Indiana, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, or Des Moines, Iowa?
Des Moines.
Okay.
Jesse, let's see now. Gary, do you agree? Your choices are Indianapolis, Harrisburg, or Des Moines.
Did my good friend say Des Moines?
He did say
Des Moines.
We accept all forms of pronunciation for Des Moines, Des Moines.
Is it Des Moines or Des Moines? Which one is it? Des or D? I agree.
I would have gotten this one wrong. I would have said Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and I'd have been wrong.
No.
You're right. I know that now.
Come on, Jason.
North is a key word.
Well, Gary and Hugh are like Gary Ellis and Eddie Lee Ivory in the backfield together. They're in sync.
Jesse Clark. Yeah, all of us. Yeah.
Question 3, as you go for a perfect score, with or without Gary's help, Hugh, is this. Populationally,
That's
Which I
another
don't
big
even know
word.
if that's a word. Is that a word?
Yeah.
It did not spell check to say it was incorrect.
Okay. Populationally, which of these state capitals is the largest? Largest population among these state capitals. Is it Bismarck, North Dakota, Salem, Oregon, or Cheyenne, Wyoming?
Salem, Oregon.
Is this question?
Gary, agree or
Is this
disagree with
question going to Hugh?
Salem,
Did
Oregon?
you say Salem?
Hugh has locked
Is
in
that
with
where
Salem.
they do?
Yes.
Is that witchcraft? Is that where the witchcraft come in at, or do we know?
No, that's the other coast.
It's a different Salem, yes.
That's
But
the other side.
That's
Salem, Mass.
isn't it?
it is close to
What's the
Eugene,
difference?
Oregon. I know that for a fact. Is it
Right.
populationally? Do you agree with Hugh that that is the one with the highest population among those three?
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's a good decision. Hugh knows his stuff. 3 for 3, Hugh. You've got 4 entries. I can't guarantee that Jesse will remember to draw a winner later in the show, but if he does, good luck with you being that person. Thanks for playing, buddy. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Hugh.
All right, thank you.
Gary, you'll see Hugh around Waukesha
Yeah.
at some point, I'm sure. All right, that is trivia.
Yeah, we'll see him downtown.
You're out and about. Yep, you're a man about town.
Yeah.
We'll kick off the 11 o'clock hour. We'll get back to the Packers and Matt LaFleur and Jeff Halfley and everything that transpired yesterday next. So stick around. It's Wilde Tausch.
Your nose is for breathing. Your mouth is for eating. And if you're breathing through your mouth, it's not because your body wants to. It's because it has to, because your nose isn't working properly. And although you've lived like this, it's no way to live, and it's having a significant impact on your life. I know you know this, and I know that taking action isn't always convenient. But at Advent, we've done all we can to make changing your life for the better as easy as possible. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. With tens of thousands of our patients, a thorough breathing triangle evaluation, along with a simple 20-minute in-office procedure called balloon sinuplasty, has opened their nasal passages, allowing them to breathe freely through their nose for good. And there's a good chance this procedure can do the same for you. We'll help you breathe through your nose again, and it will change your life.
Go to AdventKnows.com to schedule your appointment because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Do you love winning? This February, head to Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee and fall head over heels with the Love It or Leave It $400,000 game show. Thursday nights, you could play the Love It or Leave It game show where you can love your prize or leave it for another. Play with your club card to earn drawing entries. Top prize is $10 grand in cash. It's time for Love It or Leave It. Only at Potawatomi. Learn more at pacebig.com. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
For your next night out, make Aria, the acclaimed restaurant inside St. Kate the Arts Hotel, your dinner destination. Aria, nestled on the second floor of St. Kate, is an artful dining experience that captivates with its culinary creativity. Delighting in its offering of artisanal American cuisine, the restaurant transcends tradition and leans into the realm of playful and inventive flavors. Come and experience the magic of Aria, where every bite is a work of culinary artistry. Learn more and make reservations at aria@stkate.com.
Hey, this is Gabe Neitzel. You're listening to 94.5 ESPN, WKTI and WKTI HD, Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
O'clock hour of Wilde Tausch with Gary Ellerson in as our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. Former Badger, former Packer, former NFL player, former Lion. Some of the best days of your life spent in Detroit?
That's the first time I saw players smoking cigarettes on the football field when I went to Detroit.
What?
Yes. What? Yes. That's how.
You
that's how
didn't play
bad
in the
Detroit was.
60s. You're not that old. What?
Oh, yeah.
You got to be kidding me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had a loose ship there in Detroit there with Wayne Fonts. Yeah.
Smoke breaks? Water breaks and
Oh,
smoke
yeah. No,
breaks.
just pull one out of your knee pads. Go ahead. Smoke them if you got them.
Dan Campbell's really turned things around there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'll say this with Dan Campbell. Maybe he's
how
letting
about
do
this?
that.
We shared the Silverdome with the Detroit Pistons. So they had the front end of the building, and we had the back end of the building. So we would often have to walk past Isaiah Thomas, and that's when those guys were winning a lot. That's before they built their new building in Auburn Hills.
Yeah.
They played in the Dome. So we had to walk past them to go to practice. And oftentimes we would come and play pickup games after practice with Isaiah and all those guys. And what's the crazy guy that had on that team too? But he really wasn't crazy then, though. Dennis Rodman.
Rodman was
all
on
those
that.
cats.
So now you mentioned earlier that you did your pre-draft workout in the shell on campus at UW, and I remember playing. I couldn't guard a folding chair, but I was a pretty good distributor, and I could shoot the three a little bit.
Yeah.
But I remember playing pickup games there, and football players would play in those, basketball players. I remember Danny Jones, who was the all-time leading scorer at the time.
Yeah.
He came back and played pickup games. I fortunately did not have to guard him. But you playing pickup ball with the bad boy Pistons, how did you fare? How did you do?
Oh, very good. All the time. I was a good basketball player. Not as good as Tausch, but but nice. I was pretty good.
Nice. But you're a professional athlete. Yeah. You're obviously an elite person, but you're still playing against elite basketball players. You're a football player.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm curious.
I went up and dunked one time over Isaiah.
What?
I dunked on Isaiah one time. Yes.
You threw down a dunk on Isaiah Thomas.
Yes. Yes. And I remember, what's the little guard, and I'm going to age mess. What's the little guard that played for Michigan State?
Oh, no.
No, that played for Michigan State. He came in. I think he ended up playing with Orlando. He got drafted by the Bucks too. I
remember the guy I'm thinking of, which I think is more recent, is Sean Respert.
I think he holds it. No, not Sean.
So before that,
he actually holds a record, I believe, in Orlando for the most assists in one game. I believe to Shaq and them when they had that team. What is his name? And did he end up being a coach too? What is his name? Anyway, so all the visiting teams used to come in there as well, and we would often play pickup games with the visiting teams that came in for shoot-arounds and stuff.
I am looking now at...
What is his name?
Michigan. Scott Skiles? Is that the
Scott Skiles.
Nice
Scott Skiles.
pull, Jesse.
I Googled it. I did not expect Scott Skiles to be the name that came up, I got to admit.
Yeah, he played for the Bucks. He ended up being the coach in Orlando, didn't he, for a while?
Yeah, I think he did, didn't he?
So wait, you threw one down on Scott Skiles?
I used to hang out with Scott Skiles.
Oh.
Yeah, I used to hang out with Scott
Smoke
Skiles
cigarettes?
when he was here. Yeah, a little bit more than that, but that's okay. I used to hang out with Scott Skiles when he played for the Bucks. We used to hang out in clubs together. Me, Scott Skiles, and Jerry Ice Reynolds. I don't know if you remember Jerry Ice Reynolds.
I do remember Jerry Ice Reynolds. I would have preferred George the Iceman Gervin on the roster instead of Jerry Ice Reynolds. But you guys had some fun, at Elsa's on the Park and some of the other places you might have gone to hang
how'd you know? Yeah, there it is.
I once went, I will say this, I once went to
Papagayos or something like that.
Papagayo, nice drop.
Papagayos. Yes.
I once went to Elsa's on the Park when I was covering the Bucks. Ray Allen, who I became friends with, invited me to go along, and they all went out after a game. And I'm like, Ray, He was trying to set me up with one of the dancers who had no interest in me whatsoever. This was when I was young and handsome. And so we went. The Bucks dancers, the Bucks dance squad.
Oh, okay.
Not different type of professional dancer than what you were thinking of.
Ray Allen tried to set you up with a Bucks dancer.
He did. Ray, I love Ray. He is, and Sydney got to meet him last season when he came back and he had his bobblehead night and he was celebrated at Fiserv Forum. But anyway, I went and so he's like, well, you should come out with us after the game. And I'm covering the team, and I'm like, Ray, I don't think that's such a good idea. He's like, no, you got to go. So I went, and I'll tell you this, I have never felt more invisible than being with a group of NBA players and watching Elliot Sox Perry have women around him hanging on his every word, and I'm standing there going, come on, Elliot Sox Perry? Are you kidding me? So I did not stay for very long. I felt very uncomfortable. I left. I did get a burger to go because they had great burgers there at Elsa's on the Park, but that was it for me. And I never hung out with an NBA crew again. That was the end of it.
Did they know that you left?
No, I don't think. I think the next time I saw Ray, he mentioned, "Hey, when did you leave?" It was about 5 minutes after I got there. Ray, thanks.
So we're at Scott Skiles, Jerry Ice Reynolds, and myself. We're at Papagayo's, right? And there's a long line. So I'm going to go to the front of the line because I'm Gary Ellis and I'm going to be able to get in, right? Guy wouldn't let me in. I go to Scott Skiles and say, Scott, the guy won't let us in, right? He goes, let me handle it. So Scott goes up there. He goes to the bouncer, do you know who the hell I am? I'm Scott Skiles. And the guy goes, get your ass to the back of the line.
The Bucks weren't quite good enough then. Giannis could have gotten away with that at Papagayo.
Or the Packers. Neither one of us, a Packer player or a Bucks player, couldn't get in at Papagayo's in front of the line. Get to the back of the line.
I'm not going to lie.
That's how bad we were.
So this has been a pretty straightforward program. If you listen to us regularly when Tausch is on, you never know what tangent we're going to go on. But now, in a stunning turn of events, all because you shared the Silverdome with the Pistons, we went from dunking on Isaiah Thomas to hanging out with Scott Skiles in Milwaukee. To me, going to Elsa's on the Park with Ray Allen and a Bucks team that I certainly did not get to meet, the dancer that I was hoping to you getting big-timed by a bouncer at Papagayo's because you nor Scott Skiles were cool enough to skip the line.
Right. Now, that wouldn't happen to Jordan Love or Giannis today, would it?
No, it would not.
No.
Where's the cutoff on the Packers roster of who wouldn't get to jump to the front of the line?
Ooh, good question.
Oh, good question.
Like, is Darnell Savage getting to the front of the line?
Where would we put?
Yeah,
so,
I
would think so. Aaron Jones gets in wherever he wants to go.
Valentine or Ballantyne, are they getting in?
Well, you know what? And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to feel bad about, but maybe Josiah DeGruber don't get to the front of the line.
You're always beating up on poor Josiah.
That's a great line because Tucker Kraft is getting in.
What's your name? Oh, Tucker Kraft's getting in.
So Tucker, like the second tight end gets in, the third doesn't.
You know why Tucker Kraft's getting in? Because he's walking up there with his shirt off.
Or at least unbuttoned all the way to his belly button.
Oh, you know there's going to be some chest skin showing with Tucker Kraft. It's got to be.
All right, we're gonna hit the reset button.
Let's do that.
That was quite a journey. And it ends with Tucker Kraft.
Is Patrick Taylor getting in?
I just can't believe it.
No, because he's been in and out of the lineup. He may not get in.
Now I have a vision of Tucker Kraft with like a 70s wide collar shirt.
Oh, you know he does.
To his belly button. He's got the mustache
with
going.
Wranglers and a pair of boots. He's getting in.
Jesse, since Tausch isn't here, I'm going to ask you to tell us about Prize Picks so we can get back on track with Jeff Hafley.
Mark Tauscher here, and Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 3 million members. They are the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other sports apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. You're not competing against Old Jelly or against Jaybird. Nope, it's just you and the projections. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You can now win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks. Yeah, quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players, sports, and stat types are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. No matter what sports you're into, basketball, hockey, second half of the NBA season, I got Joker. All he needs is one 30-point game. This is me doing Tausch still. I think I'm doing pretty good.
Okay.
Prize Picks has a game for you. Prize Picks even offers injury insurance, Jason, so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. If you have a player who exits the game in the first half, doesn't return in the second, it won't count against you in the rest of your entry. Download the app today. Use code WI for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code WI on Prize Picks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
I want to get to something that Gary talked about early in the show, and that is player input. I asked Jeff Hafley about that, and I thought it was really interesting because it's a very interesting juxtaposition between the way it seemed to go with Joe Barry and the way Jeff Hafley sounds like he wants it to go now that he's in charge. We'll talk about that next with Gary Ellerson as our cousin sub of the day. We'll also try to figure out which other Packers can skip the line at your local popular nightclub. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, and sponsored by American Family Insurance. Even when you think you know what's going on.
And I call him Bird, but he's responding to it, which is a much better name.
You can't say that.
You can never be too sure.
I thought you could. You told me you can say the S word, but you can't say the F word.
No!
Packers, nonsense, chaos.
At 0 points have I ever told you that.
That is not true.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, morning 7 to 9 on 94.5 ESPN, and available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
Hey, it's Jason Wilde for Associated Bank. Here in Wisconsin, we love our sports year-round, right down to the Packers games in the Lambeau snow. If you want to show your love for the green and gold every day, you got it with Associated Bank's exclusive Packers checking account. A one-of-a-kind debit card, a 10% discount at the Packers Pro Shop, plus everything you'll score as an Associated Bank customer. Best of all, you'll get a banking partner based right here in the Midwest. Visit AssociatedBank.com/Packers to get started today. You've got this with Associated Bank. Member FDIC.
Ever wonder how the best athletes find the power to jump higher, cut quicker, skate smoother, drive farther, and stick the landing? At Prevea Orthopedics in Green Bay, we know power starts with the hips. That's why Dr. Michael Ryan and our team of experts provide comprehensive and advanced expertise in hip care, unlike anywhere else. Come to Prevea Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, where we can preserve your hips so you can pursue your goals. Prevea Orthopedics, specializing in you.
Your bathroom is boring and basic too. It seems like there's nothing you can do. A better bath awaits. You'll feel brand new, relaxing in a world of peace at the Bath Authority.
Hey, it's Kyle Wallace. Right now, schedule your free in-home estimate and get $1,000 off a new shower or bath, plus 36 months of interest-free financing. Restrictions apply. A better bath awaits.
You're our priority at the Bath Authority.
Make a stop at the Harley-Davidson Museum before heading out to the Mama Tried Motorcycle Show. They'll have food and drink specials for the motor bar and restaurant. Explore their newest exhibit, Mama Tried, bringing it together, and take a free shuttle to the rave for Saturday's show. The HD Factory Outlet Sale in Rumble includes fantastic deals on end of season and discontinued Harley-Davidson motor clothes and merchandise. Don't miss the fun pre-show gatherings. Thursday, February 22nd through Sunday, February 25th at the Harley-Davidson Museum.
ESPN Milwaukee's Jen Latta here to tell you about one of the best purchases I recently made, an infrared sauna from Good Health Saunas. It's an easy-to-install sauna that is great for a post-workout, travel, or long-day detoxification, and it has a rapid heat-up time. Using Good Health Saunas can also help reduce stress, improve circulation, and make your skin glow. Got an athlete in your family or just someone with an active lifestyle? Infrared saunas are perfect for muscle and tissue recovery as well. Learn more today at goodhealthsaunas.com, goodhealthsaunas.com.
Join the Milwaukee Bucks on February 27th as we celebrate historically black colleges and universities at our HBCU game presented by JCI. Enjoy pregame, halftime, and postgame events that honor the legacy and excellence of historically black colleges and universities and those who attended them. For more information and to purchase an HBCU night ticket package, visit bucks.com/impact.
The Greater Milwaukee Golf Show presented by Old Fashioned Golf returns Friday, March 1st through Sunday, March 3rd at a new location in Franklin at Mosh Performance Center and Lux Golf Bays. Save $5 on advance tickets at royalgolfshows.com. The first 1,000 people each day get a free sleeve of golf balls. Experience what Lux Golf has to offer in their new free hitting base. It's the Greater Milwaukee Golf Show March 1st through the 3rd at Mosh and Lux Golf Bays in Franklin with free parking. Visit ROYLEGolfshows.com.
You're listening to Wilde Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella at 855-PELLA-WI or visit online at PellaWI.com/radio.
All right, I can sense that there are a lot of folks that want to get in on who's skipping the line at the local nightclub.
You sense that?
I can't pick just one of the many texts that have rolled in suggesting Anders Carlson does not get to skip the line. You're all winners.
Get in.
Yeah, they're not wrong.
Yeah.
He's going to the wrong door on the right side of the regular door, right?
Ooh,
yeah,
burn.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, jeez.
All right, so as much as I'd like to debate whether Rasheed Walker gets in or not, or Anders Carlson, I do want Jesse to play this because I do think this is really important, and Gary made a really good point earlier, and I think this really underscores it. I asked Jeff Hafley about the idea of listening to his players after hearing him on a podcast with a friend of mine talk about the impact that Darrelle Revis had on him in terms of his philosophy of listening to players and their feedback. Here is that exchange.
Speaking of Revis, I'm sure we all went back and listened to every podcast we could find that you had done. And you did one in San Francisco with my buddy Matt Miyoko when you were with the 49ers. And on there, you're talking about how much from being around Revis at Pitt and then with the Bucks, how you learned about special players and learning more from players than maybe from coaches. I'm wondering where you kind of stand on input from players, because there's been a couple instances here over the years where maybe guys didn't feel like they were heard. It created some issues maybe for them. So how do you kind of view that as part of being a defensive coordinator?
Yeah, I think there has to be great communication, but I think first there has to be great relationships, right? I mean, these guys aren't just going to trust me when I walk into a room because I'm the defensive coordinator. I have to earn that from them, and they have to earn it from me. And then I think once you establish that trust and you develop a relationship, then you can have hard conversations. I have said it before. I mean, I picked Rondé Barber's brain on how to play nickel, and I learned more from him than any coach I've ever been around. He's probably one of the best nickels. He probably is the best nickel to ever play the game in that scheme. So why wouldn't I ask him those questions, right? It's the same with Sherm. And I've talked to Sherm quite a bit as I've already taken this job because I have a great relationship with him. But I'm a coach and he's in the room and I get there and I'm learning the scheme and he's seeing three in a way that instead of saying him on the field, no, this is the way to do it. It's like, wait a minute, what'd you see there and why'd you do that, right? And then sometimes it was, no, I do it like this. But then sometimes it was, all right, I got it and I'm going to teach it that way from now on, right? So there has to be some give and take, but that has to be earned. And that's very, very important to me.
So, Gary, when you hear that as a former player yourself, and you've certainly done your fair share of coaching and everything else, what does that excite you? Does that impress you? Does that surprise you at all? And then how does he go about implementing that? Because I'm sure Joe Barry would have said the same thing about wanting to listen to his players, but clearly that's not what occurred during his time as the defensive coordinator.
All right, so you've got to be able to have your system and beliefs, and I'm sure Jeff Hafley does. But within that, you've got to be able to have a defense or offense that fit your players, because not everybody can do the same things. Now, we all know that Jair preferred to play press man, and he may be the best press man coverage guy that they have. Valentine, I don't know really what their strong suit is right now at this point, but we know Jair is. And so I think what has to happen is it's all about the players right now. They've got to be able to incorporate what their players do the best and put that within their defense. That's the same thing with Quay Walker. I think he's a guy that you got to get a little bit more out of. Jair got to get back to being Jair that you paid him all that money to be, the highest paid cornerback in the league. And I think if you look at, although I thought Kenny Clark had a pretty good year this year, I think he can even be better in this particular defensive scheme that they got right now. I thought when you look at Rashawn Gary, although he was coming off that knee surgery from last year, I think he'll be better because I think he'll have a little bit more rest on that knee. I think you'll see his game accelerate. But you've got to be able to implement what players do best. Like I told you before, earlier, we were running. I was a kind of a runner that liked to pick and use holes. I would not necessarily go into the 4-hole or the 6-hole, wherever they felt. And I remember another time we go in our offensive line meeting with Jerry Wampler, and I remember Jerry was saying, and Forrest says, hey, guys, listen, Gary's in the game. The play is designed to go to the left. But with him, you got to know you got to hold your block to the right side because he may break it all the way back to the right. So you just got to be aware of the personnel, and we're giving him the freedom to do that. But within this, everybody's got to be on the same page to know, okay, 42 is in the game, a little bit different than 31, and our play call is going to be a little bit different. So, O-line, you may have to block a little bit different, knowing that these are the plays that we're calling for him. And so everybody has to be on the same page. And I think that made me feel good as a player, that they knew what my strong suit was and they were using it. And then the players, my offensive linemen, they bought into it as well because they knew what my style was.
So let me ask the flip side of this, though, because I do think, and I believe that this is the right thing to do, because like Jeff Hafley said, they're the guys that are on the field. So they have more insight for you. You, on the other hand, as a coordinator, see the bigger picture, and there's an advantage to that, too. They're focused on their jobs. How do you figure out where the line is, though, of making those guys as players feel like they have ownership and they have a voice, but you can't just do whatever they say all the time. Joe Barry couldn't do that, and while I do think it created some issues, there were probably times when what Jair wanted to do, for example, was not what was best for the defense. Might have been what was best for Jair, but wasn't necessarily what was best for the defense. So how do you balance, if you're Hafley, I want your input, but sometimes I'm going to say, okay, thank you for your input, but we're going to do it my way anyway.
If Jair comes to me and say, I want Justin Jefferson, and then you give him Justin Jefferson, and he proceeds to shut Justin Jefferson down, Jair can do whatever he wants for the rest of the year until he screws it up. Because you know what? The players in the locker room, they be like, dude, shut down the best receiver in the game. Wherever you want us to be, we'll play off of Jair because they know he's good. I mean, that just gives them ownership and belief. The other players know what other players can do and how well they can play. They don't mind sacrificing their game when they know that dude, when they shut down the best dude in the game.
So I'm going to make this leap. I'm not sure. It may be a bit of a stretch. But is the list of
Leroy Butler here or no?
No, not that leap. Is the list of players who can tell the coach their input and say what they want to do? Is that the same as the list of players that get to skip the line at the nightclub?
Wow.
Are they both in the same group?
Yeah. I mean, kind of, sort of. You're a smart guy.
So Josiah DeGuara.
But not always. No, Josiah, you just go block over there, okay? We got it.
But Tucker Kraft can roll in his 70s shirt to LaFleur's office and be like, hey, I want the ball more. And LaFleur's like, okay, let's talk about it.
We'll design a play for you. I got something for you tomorrow. Just come check back with him. We'll have it in.
And have a great night at Nicky's in De Pere or at Stirrups down on Washington Street.
Nicky's used to be the spot back in the day. Love Nicky's.
It definitely did. All right, so I do want to kind of check in on the text messages. See who else
one and the same
is getting into the nightclub and getting to tell the coaches what they want.
You think Thanos? Is it Thanos or Thanos?
Thanasis? Is that what you're going with?
Yeah, him too. Do you think he gets in?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Not on his own merits though. It's that's the transitive property.
Yeah, he's wingman,
right?
Yeah,
like he's Giannis's wingman, exactly, and brother.
Okay, fine. Yeah, all right. So I would have had to gone, I think, maybe with Don Mikowski to get in, maybe. Probably.
Oh, the Magic Man in his prime? I'm guessing that would have been a very easy way to get in. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. This was really fun.
Those are good ones there, too.
I can't wait to hear those stories. That'll have to be for a off-the-record podcast some other time. All right.
Bo Melton?
I'll tell you what, Bo Melton was on a pretty good hot streak at the end of the year.
Yeah, he made a push at the end. It all depends on what month. Now, the month of December, he probably could have gotten in.
He's getting into the Christmas party, but not the Halloween party.
Earlier there, nobody knew who he was. Yep.
August, September, probably not.
All right.
All about timing, man. All about timing, isn't it?
It really is. As I'm sure you could speak to during your time on campus when you were a big man on campus. You definitely were cutting a lot more lines back then to get to the front of the line, to get into the KK or wherever it might have been.
The KK. Oh, the KK, the 50s. Oh, absolutely.
Not Papagayos or whatever that was called.
The church key, I think.
Oh, the church key. Another good reference.
The church key.
Yeah, that's one of the places. That's for sure. All right, we'll get to Whoa Nelly. We'll pick this week's trivia winner coming up as well. Want to remind you that you want to get to Fleet Farm tomorrow for their Shop, Pop, and Save event. It's the Balloon Pop event at Fleet Farm. The first 300 customers tomorrow morning will have a chance to save anywhere from 10% to 100% off their purchase. Just fill your cart and pop your balloon at checkout to reveal your savings. So don't miss out. That is tomorrow at Fleet Farm. Also, you could save on your go-to wild bird food during the KT sale this week at Fleet Farm. You know, we love the wild birds outside and all the animals inside. You can shop their huge selection of KT and find something to keep your favorite backyard birds coming back for more. Don't miss the KT sale this week at Fleet Farm. We'll continue with Gary Ellerson as our cousin sub of the day as we get to Whoa Nelly with Jesse Nelson. Next, it's Wilde Tausch.
On air, online, and on demand. Get all your favorite ESPN Wisconsin content anywhere you get your podcasts for free. The new Wisconsin On Demand. It's free, it's everywhere, and it's for you.
Hey, Wayne, shopping for a new door? Do you need something more dependable?
Yes, something that's durable, dent-resistant, knows how to take a hit, and is going to last for years.
We're still talking about the door, right?
Oh yeah, right, of course.
Wayne Larrabee and Jeff Levering shopping together at Pella? What next? How about 0% interest for up to 60 months when you place your order by February 23rd at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Offer ends 2/23/2024.
An ESPN Radio Extra Point with Myron Medcalf.
I mean, this wasn't just two guys hold me back. I mean, this was a brawl. I mean, this was guys fighting all over the court. You know, reports that people in the stands got caught up in it. You know, manager apparently was bloodied. I just think you got to get rid of those post-game handshake lines. And, you know, I've been fortunate enough for ESPN. This is my third year as a sideline reporter in college basketball. I'm on the court, right? I'm there listening to timeouts. I'm interviewing players. I hear what happens during a game. Mm-hmm. And it's not fair, I think, to ask these guys who've been trash talking, pushing each other, fouling each other, to suddenly say after a game like that, hey, go get in line and shake everybody's hand. I understand the spirit of the idea, but I also wonder if we're forcing these guys to be in a really bad spot when emotions are still high.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-568-2790. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-568-2790. That's 800-568-2790. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-568-2790.
Kick off your St. Patrick's Day celebration early with the 15th Annual Shamrock Shuffle happening on Saturday, March 2nd. A day filled with fun, green beer, music, and fundraising for great causes, benefiting the Special Olympics and other local charities. This year, we're taking the shuffle to new heights as we explore 4 vibrant areas of Milwaukee: Water Street, MLK Drive, Brady Street, and Walker's Point. Let's shuffle for a cause. Grab your tickets at shamrockshufflewi.com. See you at the 15th Annual Shamrock Shuffle.
Get your game on at the Island Resort and Casino with first-round picks of your favorite slots and table games. Bring friends and watch your favorite team compete on big screens. Grab game day eats in T. McSee's Sports Bar or celebrate your team's victory in Horizon's Steakhouse. To book your game time at the Island Resort and Casino, call 800-682-6040 today.
The Milwaukee Panthers men's basketball team is stacking good days this season. Cheer on the Panthers as they hit the court for 2 games this week at UWM Panther Arena. First up, on Friday, February 23rd, the Panthers take on Youngstown State. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock. Then on Sunday, Milwaukee battles Purdue-Fort Wayne at 2 p.m. Experience all the action, including clutch three-pointers, rim-rattling dunks, and game-changing blocks. Visit MKEPanthers.com to lock in your seats. Tickets start at just $13. Panther Athletics for the MKE.
This is Wilde Tausch on 94.5 ESPN, sponsored by American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Jesse, do you have your cheese fry helmet? Are you ready to pick this week's trivia winner?
Oh, I sure am. We didn't do this on video last week or earlier this week, whenever that was, because
we're having some glitchy problems.
Some issues, but we're good now. Let me do something here, Brian. Might as well have Gary join us if he's going to be the cousin sub of the day, right? Here we go. All right.
Do something.
Drawing our trivia winner. Will it be Hugh, who won today with state capitals? It is not. It is Scott in Mount Pleasant. He was our Wisconsin Geography Wednesday contestant earlier this week. Nice win for Scott.
Congratulations to him.
Mount Pleasant, is that Racine, Kenosha? Where is that at?
That's it.
Is that where they make American Girl dolls?
I don't know. Well, aren't they shutting that down there? That's kind of.
I don't know. That's not my area of expertise. The girls have outgrown that.
But
phase,
yes,
so.
he did say when he joined us on Wednesday that's near Racine. So Racine, I think, would be the sister city of Mount Pleasant.
I think that's where all those outlet malls are. You can do a little
Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, a little, or is that Pleasant Prairie? Anyway, I think we've covered enough.
Yeah, that may be Pleasant Prairie.
Yeah. That's
that
the Nike outlet.
We're still doing the geography thing, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, now that we've established that we're not very good at southern Wisconsin geography.
You ready? I got another story for you real quick. You ready for this?
Oh, yes. Okay.
So I get inducted into the Albany, Georgia Sports Hall of Fame some years back.
Wow.
So they bring me back to my hometown. And so they put me into the Hall of Fame. They got my picture going up into the Civic Center. They have this huge, and me and like 4 or 5 other local guys are going in. And so they get ready to introduce me, and everybody know I was the best high school player in the state of Georgia the year that I came out. And I had signed a national letter of intent to go to the University of Georgia, and they were just coming off winning the national championship with Herschel Walker. And so I was recruited as an athlete, but I wasn't going to play running back because Herschel was there playing running back, so he's going to put me at receiver. Anyway, long story short, so I'm getting into the Hall of Fame. And guy comes up, introduced me, and he started talking about all the schools that recruited me: Georgia, Alabama, Florida State, Miami, blah, 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 blah. Wisconsin, Michigan, Southern Cal. And then the guy proceeds to turn around and says, well, of course, we all know that Gary flunked geography. Everybody looks around. And then they say, why you say that? They says, because he doesn't know where the University of Georgia is.
What?
Yeah.
So was that a dig at you for choosing Wisconsin? What was he? Why did he say that?
Yes. That was it. Yeah. They were still. This was like 10 years ago, so they're still holding on to that.
Because you chose to go years ago. You chose to be a Badger instead of backing up Herschel Walker?
Yes. Of course, we know Gary didn't pass geography because he doesn't know where the University of Georgia is. But I'm
made the right choice.
So I had to get up. I had to get up. Well, thank you, everybody. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
What? So, in all seriousness, though, I do want to ask this because I don't know. Yeah, not funny. That was pretty weak. But
it's Georgia, man, come on. Nobody leaves Georgia.
Right, but why did you
go to Wisconsin?
So why did you did McLean just sell you so effectively on Madison? Like, well, I don't know this story actually. So why does a kid from Georgia who's being recruited by all those schools pick, of all places, Wisconsin, which was a good program, but certainly not a national championship contender program under Dave McLean? Why did you pick the Badgers?
They had the best NIL package.
I didn't know they had that in the 80s. Tell me more. You're going to get the Badgers put on probation for something they did 40 years ago.
Nelly! 100 years ago.
All right, before we get Luke Fickell's program in trouble.
That would be like, you know what that was like? That was like, you just can't say that.
That was very flippant. You just can't
flippantly say that without me asking a question.
Wow, I did not see that coming. I think now's a good time to start. Won't Nelly?
If the topic is good, the guys discuss.
Just the other morning I had breakfast at Tracy Rocco's house. His mama brought out 15 flapjacks. He said, Mama, take back 5 of them flapjacks. I gotta stay hungry for the Crimson Tide.
But if it's not, the show must go on. It's time for
Whoa, Nelly!
On Wilde Tausch.
All right. If we have time, I might ask about the wedding this weekend. A little what would you do situation, but that also could apply on Monday after I know the answer. I want to ask this before they resolve it. Baseball has a big problem, guys.
What's that?
You can see players' undies.
What?
What do you mean? Well, who's watching that? Are you doing that?
Well, Gary, I mean, there's new jerseys. Not the state.
I've been to New Jersey.
There are brand new jerseys that the players are wearing as they get to spring training. There's a new company, Fanatics, is the one that's creating the new uniforms. And at first, the players were a little upset about how they looked. They kind of looked like they were like cheap, like they were coming from, like the department store. The names are very circular on the back, so people with long names, their names like almost circling around underneath their number. That was a problem. Now, as teams are doing their photo shoots in Arizona and Florida, as they've all arrived for spring training, the photos are being released on social media, and everybody's seeing that you can see the sliding shorts or the T-shirts that the players are wearing underneath their uniforms. And there's definitely some players who are, depending on what your photo shoot is, that they're, posed in, like, sitting on a bench or like in a catcher's crouching position, and there's some things that you can see that you don't want to see.
Hello.
Are they wearing jock straps, or do you know?
I don't know. I believe that they are in full uniform, which would include that when they are taking these pictures. But baseball's got a big problem with
Sounds
this.
like butts is part of the problem.
What I heard on Unsportsmanlike with our friend Evan Cohen and Michelle Smallman and Chris Canty was off today, but I'm sure he would have enjoyed this topic as well.
What?
Does this actually make spring training games more interesting to tune in to watch? To see if you're gonna see something.
What am I going to see? Butt crack? Is that what I'm looking at?
Well, you're going to see like this, like you're watching more intently to see the outline of like the sliding shorts, or if you're wearing like a logoed T-shirt underneath the jersey. Like, is this actually making spring training more interesting than if they just were rolling out new uniforms, just like ho hum, okay? They clean them up a little bit and getting ready for opening day in April.
This kind of feels like what you're into. I'm not sure.
So, wait a minute. Clarify something for me, Jesse, since you've done such extensive research on this. These are independent. These are Fanatics, and Nike, from what I'm seeing, has done this. But these are just for spring training, right? Like, they apparently go with a cheaper style of jersey because they've got a bunch of guys that aren't going to be on the roster when the season starts. So they kind of skimp a little bit.
These are
cost.
the spring training uniforms. Yes, so by the time you get to the regular season, I mean, even if it was the same apparel, they'd have this fixed by the time we get to the regular season. But my understanding is that it is a different company that once they get to opening day, it'll be all cleaned up. It'll be better, back to normal.
The new Fanatics Nike MLB uniforms look like players' moms got the jerseys on clearance at TJ Maxx.
I like. Know if you guys shop there.
I do. It's a really good, it's a good bargain.
Best Packer shirt I ever got was there. $3. NFC North champions. No year on it.
There it is.
I do think it's fair for Major League Baseball players to expect slightly higher quality than what I get for my Nike running pants, though, that I might pick up there not secondhand, but maybe second quality. Whoa, Nelly.
Whoa, Nelly.
Whoa, Nelly.
Speaking of things that have been a debacle, Gary, what are your thoughts on the state of the Milwaukee Bucks as they get set to start the second half of the season tonight against the Minnesota Timberwolves?
Here's what has to happen. I know Giannis said, it's Dame, this is your team. But Giannis has to not say it, but it has to be put in action. They need to hand it over to Dame. Dame needs to stop playing second fiddle to Giannis, and he needs to be the guy. This needs to be much like when LeBron went to Miami and D-Wade said, LeBron, we're going to win it. We're going to win it because you're the guy. Giannis has to say, this is your team, Dame. Do what you do. I'll play off of you. That's what's got to happen. And I think that was said in words, but in the game, you can still feel like, Giannis just don't really want to take the back seat yet. He's got to get Dame comfortable. There's only one guy that can do that. And obviously, they've got to play a little bit better defense, but the chemistry is not there yet.
I'm going to defer to Gary, just like apparently Giannis is going to defer to Dame on the court, because we have some breaking news from the NFL. No, this is if you're looking for a little bit of extra salary cap space, the NFL has good news for you. We had been working off a projection that the salary cap for this year would be $243 million. Instead, it is jumping by $30 million to $255.4 million as this year's salary cap.
Taylor Swift.
That and a myriad of other revenue streams. That's a huge jump. That is literally this year's salary cap for 2023. This past season was $224. So it's nearly $31 million of a jump. And if you're the Packers, who are looking for some salary cap space without having to restructure a bunch of contracts as they have in past years, this helps their cause. This is good news for the Packers, but it's good news for everybody. Everybody gets $255 to work with. Gary, you played in the pre-salary cap era, or just before it arrived. I feel like the first salary
Plan
cap,
B, baby.
You were Plan B free agent.
Plan B, baby.
You and Frank Winters.
Plan B.
I think the first salary cap, and I understand this was a long time ago because I'm getting old, was, I believe, $87 million. And now here we sit, $255.4 million for next year. All right, sorry,
Aaron
Jesse.
Jones gotta love this move.
Yes. Mm-hmm. There's a guy that they need to make sure they keep, no doubt about it. All right, we'll wrap things up with Feel Good Friday, painted by Hallman Lindsay Paints. So stick around. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Wilde Tausch is presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella at 855-PELLA-WI or visit online at PellaWI.com/radio. Keep the good times rolling every Sunday with GKB founder and CEO Craig Karmazin on Sunday Karma.
Everyone's using Daniel Jones as why Jordan Love's going to get paid all that money. I think it's the opposite. I think it's what you just hit. Right. I think that it's more of like, hey, be careful. Don't just jump into paying someone unless you're sure.
Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin.
Is that how you manage?
That is not how you manage, but that might be the way that the Green Bay Packers organization goes about their business.
It's the way the Green Bay Packers...
we know they go about their business like that.
Sundays from 10 to noon on ESPN Wisconsin.
Woo! Hey, this is Ben Brust from Kyle Brust and Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin. People can't stop screaming about the Screamin' Sicilian frozen pizza, and no wonder. There's plenty to scream about, like the buttery stone-fired crust, secret recipe tomato sauce, mounds of whole milk mozzarella, and tons of premium toppings. Find Screamin' Sicilian in your local grocer's freezer and find out for yourself why Sport called Screamin' Sicilian's Holy Pepperoni frozen pizza the best of the best. Screamin' Sicilian, taste what all the screamin' is about.
For over 4 decades, one name has stood out as a symbol of excellence in automotive sales and service. It's the Boucher Automotive Group, dedicated to providing exceptional experiences to all of our valued customers.
We will help you find the perfect vehicle within your budget while respecting your time.
With 20 convenient locations, we're the one-stop destination for all your automotive needs.
At Boucher, we're your trusted partner on every mile of your journey, riding with you every mile since 1977. The Boucher Group has exciting news to share with you. We've expanded to better serve our community.
Introducing Nissan Lake Country, the newest addition to our family.
Step into our showroom and discover our exceptional selection of brand new Nissans.
We are also stocked with the best pre-owned options in the market.
And as we expand, we're not just growing our inventory, we're also growing our team.
So join a team that values your skills and celebrates your success.
Visit us online or in-store today and view our current job listings at bouchercareers.com.
The moment you've been waiting for is here. Eagle Sports Range is officially open for action. It's Wisconsin's largest indoor range, offering unlimited range time in 40 lanes, which include 20 20-yard lanes and 20 50-yard lanes, and no reservations needed. Just show up and let the fun begin. With a staggering selection of 100 firearm rentals to use, every visit is a new adventure. Eagle Sports Range is also a go-to for education. Take advantage of their concealed carry classes and gun safety courses. Safety first, excitement second. Visit them out in Cudahy or online at eaglesportsrange.com. Eagle Sports Range, where education meets exhilaration.
Finding the special healthcare resources families need just got easier.
Wisconsin Wayfinder Children's Resource Network helps kids with delays, disabilities, special health care needs, and mental health conditions. Call toll-free 877-947-2929. Ask questions. Get answers. Connect today toll-free 877-947-2929. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
It's Fish Fry Friday. Homer's joined by Chris Leffler of Hot House Tavern to talk about their fish fry.
Hot House. Take it away.
Hot House Tavern, Menominee Falls, in the old fire station. Fire station was built in 1929. It housed the fire station, the police station, the jail, the village hall, and the library. And now it's one building, Hot House Tavern, featuring great food and, of course, fish fry on Fridays.
Well, I know when you start it, the first thing you guarantee is we're going to have a fish fry, right?
Having a fish fry is always a natural in Wisconsin.
All right, and now you have to decide what kind of a fish fry are we going to have at the Once Fire Station.
We feature perch, cod, and walleye for Lent.
And you always have something special at all your places, or it's special that it used to be a fire station.
Well, my advice to be able to get out there and enjoy your fish fry with a tasty John Jensen drink. You'll love it.
Hot House Tavern in Menominee Falls. Special Canadian walleye is available for a limited time. HotHouseTavern.com. You're listening to Wilde Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and sponsored by American Family Insurance.
Wrapping up our time with Gary Ellerson as our Cousin Sub of the Day, Cousin Subs. We believe in better with Feel Good Friday, painted by Home and Lindsay Paints. Our friend Marco Sicchi, the former Badgers assistant men's hockey coach, who has been a friend of mine and a friend of Tausch's for a really long time. Obviously, the Badgers made a change in their coaching staff after last season, and they've been having a bunch of success on the ice this year. But what I love about Oz is that he started the Casting for Kids event, which I am not baiting a hook. I'm not going out on a boat to go fishing, but I do want to support Oz and this great cause with AmFam and the UW Carbone Cancer Center and the Children's Hospital at UW. So even though Oz is no longer in Madison coaching the Badgers, he's still doing Casting for Kids, and you can sign up already. It is May 18th. That's the event on the Madison area chain of lakes. But even though Oz isn't with the Badgers anymore, he's still keeping this alive. This is year 6 of Casting for Kids. So I wanted to make sure everybody knew that you can go to casting4kids.org. That's casting4kids.org to sign up. It's a great event, and Oz is one of the all-time great guys. So I love that he's still doing it, and I want to make sure that we get plenty of folks getting involved. Those of us that don't fish may not be supporting it the same way, but we're excited for Oz, and we appreciate him. Gary, speaking of people we appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for stepping in for Tausch today. I look forward to the next time you do it.
Appreciate you more. And Jesse is awesome.
Yeah.
We'll even let you cut to the front of the line next time, Gary.
Only if you're with Don Mikowski, though. That's it for us today. Have a great day. Take care. Be good.
Crazy.
Miss any of today's episode of Wilde Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin? Commercial-free full show podcasts are available free on Wisconsin On Demand.
It's time for the Ortho ASAP Minute from Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin.
I'm talking with Dr. Chris Killian. Doctor, if someone starts to feel pain, what are the first things that they need to do?
Certainly resting it. Ice can be helpful, anti-inflammatories.
So let's say none of that works and someone is looking for that next step to relieve their pain. Just because someone steps into your office, that does not automatically mean that that next step is a surgical procedure. Is that right?
We still kind of treat surgery as kind of a last option once you've exhausted conservative management. So those conservative treatments, again, being rest, ice. If it's your shoulder we're talking about, going through a period where maybe a short period of immobilization. And then the mainstay is physical therapy. We have physical therapists here specifically at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin that work with us and train with us that allow a vast majority of people to actually avoid surgery altogether, depending on what their issue is.
The Ortho ASAP Minute is sponsored by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
Right
Right now, the prices of diamonds are probably the lowest we'll see in our lifetime.
Diamond prices are low, low, low. Here's why.
It was hard to meet new people during COVID.
When a person meets their soulmate, they usually get engaged about 39 months later.
People started dating again only about 36 months ago.
Most of the people who got engaged during COVID
or immediately after COVID
were already in a relationship before the COVID lockdown began.
The Wall Street Journal even published a story about all of this.
Low sales of engagement rings created a worldwide oversupply of diamonds.
But now, engagement ring sales are beginning to pick up again.
By the end of next spring, this temporary oversupply will be gone.
And diamond prices will start climbing like crazy.
If you ever wanted to own a big diamond, this is the year to do it.
Find the Kesslers nearest you at KesslersDiamonds.com.
If you want to own a big diamond, the time is now.
Hey, this is Jen Latta. You're listening to 94.5 ESPN, WKTI, and